Danny is the direct connection to the Tijuana Cartel. So he eventually took me over. Sorry, my friends. These guys need you to put these bags over your head. The doors fly open. They snatch the bags off. The old man starts to negotiate with me. The old man ends up being old man Mayo. He wanted to send me, I think it was between 8 to 10 tons a week. Then I started listening to more conversations about the white.
Donald Wayne Tomkins is a former drug kingpin from Detroit, Michigan. He was raised in the slums and started working in crack houses during the boom of the 1980s. He continued working his way up until he eventually got plugged in with Mexican cartels. He was one of the key American distributors for the Juarez cartel and then eventually the Sinaloa cartel. He's been on ranches in Sinaloa with Mayo Zambada, shared drinks with Chapo, and shaken hands with Mexican five-star generals. He eventually spent a decade in federal prison. He's now an author and a podcaster. Go check out his book, El Primo, The Black Hand of the Sinaloa Cartel, and for a bonus episode with Donald, where he exposes never-before-told secrets about Chapo, as well as his cooperation with the DEA against Mexican politicians and the Mexican military, go to patreon.com/TheConnectShow. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Kingpin, Donald Wayne Tomkins, aka El Primo, right here on The Connect with Johnny Mitchell.
They sent us like 2,500 pounds. Got rid of that in like 3 days. They started sending like about 2 to 3 metric tons. The loads basically came to a stop. I'm gonna go to Sinaloa. I'm about to cut a deal. We get in a car with Chief. Chief slammed on the brakes and grabbed my leg. They setting you up. Something's gonna come through to take you out.
That's when I see lights behind me start to flash. And I didn't even think, I just hit it. I was driving like my life depended on it. Then I parked the car, hopped out, closed the door, and I started running.
And he pulls out a burner, a shank, it's like 6 inches. And he passes it to me. And he goes, here, that's yours. Don't ever leave the cell block without this. He was the reason I made it out of that place alive.
Black Bottom is where? Tell us what Black Bottom is.
Black Bottom was the area that the blacks moved to when they were migrating from the South up to Detroit for the purpose of getting the opportunity to work for the Big Three, Ford Motor Company, and all that. And it has an extensively rich history with, I think, some of your top performers of that era. Yeah. You know, Doc Holliday and those types that were there. You had some of your top, like, Cotton Club type things, jazz things. You had black entrepreneurs, your dentists, your doctor's office, and things of that sort, until they build, I think it's I-75 through the middle of it, and just broke all of that up.
Detroit's got so much talent out of it, doesn't it?
Detroit is becoming a mecca, but I mean, Detroit have always been special to me. You've had a lot of talent. I guess if I can include myself in that.
For sure. Oh, no, from artists, from the Berry Gordy era, Motown, to athletes, to dope dealers.
It's exactly. I mean, it's just everything you could possibly think of. And the crazy thing with you stating that, just think back to the time that I was with I don't know if you're familiar with Chamber Brothers. I was basically raised by Marlo Chambers. So I got an opportunity to really see how things go under his tutelage, and just to learn, and then just to have the reputation that Detroit guys have wherever you go in this country. You seem like you can always run into Detroit people. And a lot of times from my era, it's like different drug guys.
It seems like Detroit was doing so bad in the 70s and 80s that everybody had to leave the city to get on in other places. So almost like a Detroit diaspora in New York, Philly, definitely Atlanta, the South, LA.
Exactly. And because, the lifeblood of the city was the Big Three. And that was the only thing going. There was nothing else.
Talk about the automakers.
Yeah, the automakers, And there was nothing else. And it got to a point that after they got so many of their employees, you know, you're not letting nobody else in. You got your quota. So everybody else, you were screwed. You know, so how did you survive? You know, and I grew up in the area where there were no money. If you could find bottles on the side of the street, something like that, and take the 10 cent and, you know, turn it in and get that, you were doing good, and you might get robbed for that.
You know. So how did you survive? You were basically an orphan.
Pretty much. My mother, she passed when I was 3, and my father was non-existent for the most part.
So who raised you?
I was raised by my grandmother and grandfather, and the crazy thing about it, I didn't know that they were my grandfather and grandmother until I got maybe like 6 or 7. I thought they were actually my parents.
Well, yeah, because how would you know?
Exactly. So it finally came to me one day. The light came on that, wait a minute, you call her your uncle and your auntie, and that's, so wait a minute, So that's pretty much how I figured it out. But
and what year were you born?
72.
Okay.
72.
Okay. So you were young when crack first hit.
When crack first hit,
You were a teenager.
I was like 14.
Okay.
I was 14, and I've never been popular, but there were some girls on the corner that I really liked, man. I mean, everybody liked them, and I'm not going to say their name to embarrass them, but I really liked them, but nobody, was looking at a little old me. Then you had the guy at the time, because the city has switched over from heroin to cocaine, but it was still in the process. So the biggest thing at that time was B.J. Chambers, Billy Joe Chambers. Mm-hmm. And those are the guys that really started the crack era, where it became an epidemic, I guess you could call it. But you still had your Curry boys that were before that were dealing in cocaine.
Right. So there was Johnny Curry, right? He was like one of the early African-American kingpins out of Detroit.
With cocaine, because you had other people. He's probably going to get pissed, but there's a guy named Pelza. And he had a direct contact with the Colombians. Then you had Demetrius Holloway, and you had those different guys. But Pelza predated the Currys. But then you had the Currys, and then after the Currys went down, of course, you had White Boy Rick, you had Demetrius Holloway, and those different individuals that were real heavy in the city.
And the Chambers brothers were the first crack kingpins, like the real infamous crack guys.
Because they took a different approach to it. The way that when they came along, they took the approach of more of a franchise, where each drop off, and this was a lieutenant, he would be responsible for opening X amount of, let's say, Wendy's or whatever the case may be, but they were crack spots. So he might have 10 drop offs, because he was much bigger than Larry Chambers, which was my mentor. But each one of those guys might have 10 crack houses. And he have 10 or 15 of them. Each one have 10 crack houses. I mean, you do the math. You got 150 different spots that you serve crack out of.
And were they plugged with Colombians or Mexicans?
I was so young, I don't know. But I know, from my understanding, the Currys were plugged with Colombians. From my understanding, the Mexicans came along later, when it became hard for the Colombians to cross work over from, the islands over into Florida and all of that.
The Caribbean.
So they switched to the Mexican, and the Mexican became the middleman and basically brought it up over land instead of water.
Gotcha. And tell us about your experience interning, we'll say, under the Larry Chambers. Was he the elder brother of the Chambers brothers, or was he the father?
Marlo was the elder brother, and there was a significant age gap between Billy Joe and his twin, because he had a twin. Marlo was always in federal prison for robbing banks. So when I came along, it was a young man that I grew up on Lakewood with that was a cut up. Cut up meaning that once they cooked the crack up, he would set the crack on the table, and there's usually girls that would be cutting it up. They were setting their bra and panties, pretty much, what is that movie?
Like Nino.
And actually, they got the inspiration from the actual Chamber brothers. And I mean, when they wrote it, it was based on that. And that's exactly what happened.
I think there's a few kingpins who would argue about where the New Jack City actually got that trope from.
Well, I would love to sit there and have the debate, because I mean, we know Biggie's, it had to have an effect, because Biggie Smalls made 10 crack commandments, and that came from Marlo Chambers.
Wow.
He had commandments, what they called the commandments. He had a rule. And if you played loud music while you were in one of your spots dropping off, that would be a fine. If you didn't drop off before a certain time and got all the money out in a certain amount of time, you get fined for that. There was no screwing the cut up girls, things of that sort. You would get fined for that. There was no screwing each other's girlfriends inside that, you'll get fined for that.
Right.
And a lot of those rules that he implanted or put forth helped the organization run good. And I took a lot of those rules when I got my organization going, and it really helped.
Do you think so? He kind of runs it like the Mafia.
Oh, exactly.
And I think a lot of the black guys actually from Detroit actually learned a lot of their ways by actually being around Cosa Nostra, because Detroit's got a very powerful Sicilian organization.
Yeah, before they started moving out, because they were also there, and they actually had a large Jewish and Italian population that was in Detroit in your 60s and 70s, and then they started to actually move out.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of the perspectives that my generation got was basically from your mob movies.
Yeah,
but it wasn't actually having the connection that maybe our uncles or whatever had before us. Because when the 80s came along, you had a different mentality. It was a lot of violence. So I think, which I believe I could speak to, and I believe I could speak for the homie Big Meech, that when our generation came along, we were slightly after that, and we knew that violence was not going to get it. And we knew that as soon as you got to killing and doing that, as we say, them people coming. And, they'll pick you up and figure out the charges later. Because you had your organizations like the Best Friends, and you had Clifford Jones. And these guys put in work. They
Who
were
are those,
vicious.
cops?
No, these were killers.
Oh.
I mean, real cold-blooded killers. Oh. And they took out contracts. They'd come to whatever state and get you. And these guys they hunt, literally. Hunt people.
Big black Clifford Jones.
Yeah.
On from the White Boy Rick documentary. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the boogeyman. And the Best Friends were right there with that. And they were just as effective. But it was Cliff, and he had his team. But the Best Friends came up under they didn't come from up under him. They were already in existence, but they started getting consistent work from Maserati Rick. And that was that whole Maserati Rick, Demetrius Holloway thing there.
So now you're 14. What are you doing for Marlo? How do you meet Marlo Chambers, and how does he recruit you?
Like I said, I had a buddy, and me and him was really close. And I mean, he was always fresh. I'm using the words from back in the day. He had the Adidas tracksuits. He had the Fila tracksuits. And I had a cousin, may rest in peace, named Howard. And he grew up around my cousin Howard. My cousin Howard loved guns. And he had him, they playing with a gun one day, and the gun went off. The kid shot himself in the eye. So it screwed his eye up, but he lived. But he got a really tight relationship with me. And he started to tell Marlo about me, because he was the only cut-up boy out of all the cut-up girls. So Marlo adopted him because Marlo had no kids. And here's the thing, Marlo got out of federal prison. His brothers, according to him, took his money and came up to Detroit and started the whole crack thing. So when he got out, he looking for him like, where's my damn money?
Right.
So they're like, we don't have your money, but we can set you up in business. So that's how Marlo got set up in the crack business.
Oh, interesting. So his younger brothers put him on.
Put him on, exactly.
Where were they from originally?
From Arkansas.
Okay.
Actually, Bill Clinton, when he did a speech, he referred to them of little young boys from the country of Arkansas that came up to Detroit, Michigan, and made all this money. But you couldn't say that they didn't put in a hard day's work.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you gave him props.
Yeah, he did. He did. Actually in one of his speeches. Yeah. And he referred to them. So he brought me around, but you had to earn your bones. So they put you in crack houses.
Yeah.
And me, man, listen, those were the lean years. I had nothing. You hear me? So, man, they would put me in abandoned houses, and, they'll nail a door up with a little slot, and I go in there. I mean, they give me a bucket, and, when I had to express myself, naturally, I got on the bucket and tossed it out. And so, a real Viking,
Third world conditions up there in Detroit, Michigan, man.
And listen, man, they could put me anywhere, and I would get it.
Yeah.
And he just really took a liking to that. And then I started to get a reputation of being able to handle myself from, again, my cousin Howard. He would do things like, I know it's going to sound crazy, like, come on, let's go have a shootout. So I'm like, okay, where's the guns at? They right here. So I'm thinking he's talking about fake guns, but no, he had real guns. And he was the first example of Devo. So I'm like, well, listen, I'm not going to go out and have a shootout with you in the alley. So you my cousin and you can't go have a shootout with me.
Right.
I'm like, well, I guess it wouldn't be that bad. So we go to shooting it out and things of this sort. So not proud of it, but I became familiar with the process. So, I mean, having bullets whistling past my ears, you know, I was kind of, I don't know, kind of used to it, I guess, in a weird way. So that's the reputation that I got.
Guys, I'm sure you've heard me talk about MANDO whole body deodorant at this point. It was all over podcasts that I listened to, and I finally decided to give it a try. You can use it on your whole body. Yes, your whole body. It's dermatologist tested and gentle on all your bits. It controls odor for 72 hours, clinically proven. You can choose from 4 cologne quality scents: Bourbon Leather, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, and Clover Woods, or unscented if you want to get stealthy. MANDO was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated, and it's clinically proven to control odor for 3 days, 72 hours. And again, it's safe for the whole body, your pits, your package, your feet, and everywhere in between, all those fat rolls. MANDO stops odor before it starts, and it's American made, you patriots. I love this stuff. They sent me some products to try, and I'm hooked. I'm actually a customer now. The Bourbon Leather whole body deodorant is my daily go-to. I smell like a man. Smell like a man that smokes cigars and has his face wrinkled by the sun. Fall is here and winter is right around the corner. That means colder temps, movie nights, and staying inside. The last thing you want while cuddling up with some babe is smelling like a sweaty dumpster, ruining your chances at closing the deal. So let MANDO help you. It's strong enough to handle your worst odors, but gentle enough for your sensitive areas because it's aluminum-free, baking soda-free, cruelty-free, dye-free, and vegan. Check it out. MANDO's starter pack is perfect for new customers. This is what you get. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, plus you get free shipping. Ready to make the upgrade to MANDO? New customers get $5 off of a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off of your starter pack. Use code Mitchell, MITCHELL, at shopmando.com. Again, SHOPMANDO.com with that promo code Mitchell. Thanks, MANDO, for supporting the show. My favorite deodorant of all time, and I will never switch. Check them out today. Let's get back into the episode.
They ended up with infamous apartment building on the boulevard, 1350. I believe that was the address. And I mean, this place, man, 20, 30,000 in crack in a day. Mm-hmm. But it got so to the point that nobody would go in it. And I mean, the people would come so quick. The money come through, you push the crack back through, you just have to throw the money on the floor. Then there would be money counters. And it just got bad because the police would bust it. And then, you know, guys run, go to the jail, with nobody going in. So guess who he picked to go? He picked me. But I'll go in there. He's giving me like $200 a day, which for me at the time was a lot of money.
It's a fortune.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm in there and I'm selling crack. When the police come and bust the door in, I just run up to the 6th or 7th floor because they would only come up so high. Yeah. And then a lot of times I jump out the window.
Wow.
Like from the 3rd floor.
Wow.
The gift of youth, right?
Yeah.
And I take off running. I could always get away because I was fast. So he just really took a liking to that. So he was having a problem at the time because one of his drop-offs that he had fired kept coming back robbing a joint. So I was the answer for that. So he put me in there to babysit the drugs.
Right.
And then the guy heard I was in there and he wouldn't come no more because he knew, you know, it wouldn't be as simple. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So from that, he started really he would talk to me a lot. And whatever you tell me, I would catch on to. And then I would give him ideas with different stuff. So really, he would just sit down and kick it with me about different things that was going on in the organization. I tell him what I think. And he just started to really pour into me. And he would start to ask me questions. Okay, if this one on that one, how would you handle it? How would you go about it? Oh, I'll go and I'll kick everybody's ass. Well, no, you don't want to do that. Not with your drop-offs. Because if the guys close to you, you kick their ass and you a threat to them, they're going to turn you in.
Mm.
So you never do that with your core group. And he just started to teach me.
Wow.
And I started to learn and really just pick up on it. And he got to the point where he started just buying me scooters. And he just started just buying me stuff. You know, and then I had a curfew I had to be in because I kept going to jail for driving without license and all kind of stuff. So he's like, you acting up, you can't go back outside. He ground me and all that. So it turned into something more than just drugs. Yeah. He turned into a father figure for me. So that was that process.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. How long did you work in the shops before you got promoted?
I wasn't in there long. And I wasn't in there long. I guess it's a case to where, I guess we're working a regular hour. You say you never want the boss to know your name. But in this case, the boss knew my name. So everything I did when I'm willing to go into these spots that were extremely hot and my name started to ring. So when he had that issue, he brought me in. To answer your question, maybe I wouldn't even get a year, maybe about 6 months, because spots were constantly getting bust. So they always had spots that were hot. And my name always came up to go in them. And then when my name came up to go in them, I never took a loss. Because when the police came, I was good at, I don't know how, but I was good at escaping and getting out the house with the drugs. Mm-hmm. When most guys would say, oh, the police took it all. Me, I would always give it back.
Yeah.
So he looked at me like, wow, that's rare. You're not going to keep it. You're not going to lie. And, you know, because I always gave it back. Mm-hmm. So I say maybe 6 to 8 months or somewhere. And that's because BJ knew about me as well, because I started out working with him with my cousin. So my cousin was known too, because he was real crazy. So, but when they found out I wasn't like him and I could handle business, that really helped.
Okay. So what happens next?
Marlo gets busted. Well, actually, the whole Chambers family pretty much went down.
Okay, yeah. What year was that? 87? 88?
That was I'm like the worst for dates, so maybe between like 87, 89, somewhere in there.
And I believe they got life.
Yeah, they did. They did. He's actually still locked up now. He got natural life because he had already, I think he had already had like 3 prison stints or whatever for robbing banks and all that.
Yeah.
You know, but he put a lot into me because he would always tell me, and he told us to stay away from BJ. Because he'd say, hey, listen, man, those guys are flashy, man. They're flashy. You know, these people are not going to handle it. I mean, the law enforcement are not going to deal with that, man. You flashing, you putting it all in their face.
And they're filming all their money. And...
Yeah. And he stayed away from that, and he kept us away. And that was one of his rules. If we went around them, we would get fined.
Wow.
And, you know, BJ never talks about that, but he had rules for us to stay away from them because he say, man, they're going to get busted. Mm-hmm. But it just so happened that, I mean, he got it as well. Actually, that's him speaking when he was filming his 24-karat gold sink. That's him talking. And then the guy, money, 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 Reed Rich, goddammit. That was his second in command, Jack.
Oh, wow.
He hated me, but he thought I was spoiled. I probably was. But
so now that after they go down, there's all these crack spots throughout the city that are vacant. There's this whole demand and supply that's now dried up.
I would say after that point, your concept of selling drugs changed. It switched from the crew to the boss. I'm the boss. I'm the man. And it switched basically because of the laws. Because of your crew, you got RICO, you got all these different laws. So it basically switched. And that's when I would say you had no order. You had a lot of rogue individuals. Because if you had an 8-ball, you were a boss now. If you had 10 rocks, you were a boss. There was no order.
So everybody's decentralized.
Everybody's decentralized. It broke the whole concept of order off, because before, if there was a disagreement, the bosses would meet, kind of like the mob. They would have an understanding. They say, okay, listen, this is what's going to happen. And that's what you followed. And a lot of that came over from the heroin era. But now it broke up everything. Everybody's free agents. And then that's when you start getting more of the government starting to come in and flip guys and starting to gather information, and especially in Detroit, 'cause you had a lot of murders at the time. Right. So really, you had no order. I ended up getting locked up after that. I went to Juvenile for, I hate to say it, but 2 counts, first-degree murder, felony firearm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For how long?
That was before they made the law that you could be charged as an adult.
Okay. How old were you?
Like 14, 15.
And you caught 2 murders?
Yeah, that's
we understand. It's Detroit. These things happen.
okay. Basically, if you want just some of the details, just real quick. It's unfortunate, but our bosses were cowards. I mean, and they knew we were another generation coming up. And we came from old school and we could get to it, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it was a particular block, Cedar Grove, right off of 6 Mile. Because basically when I got older, I'm 6 Mile. And they sent us to basically throw everybody off the block. Right. Because at that point we had control of the block, but they went through a real bad drought at the time. These one guys had work, we didn't. And so they opened up, started doing well. So they sent us up in there, me and my best friend at the time. So the plan was horrible. But we ran up in like 3 different houses, threw everybody out. And my one buddy, he loved guns too. He had an AK-47. And he wanted to shoot the place up before we leave out to leave a message, so to speak. So he cut loose, and he got them 30-30s just going through the walls. But we didn't know it was a guy hiding in the closet in one of those rooms. So the bullets went through the wall, hit him, and may rest in peace. So where the second account of first-degree murder came from, I don't know. But I ended up getting charged with that as well with him because I was there in the residence with a gun.
As an accessory.
Exactly.
Okay. Why did Marlo let you, did he order that? You to go clear the block off?
Marlo ordered me to do quite a few things, but never killing nobody. Back then, there was a lot of, blowing up people's spots, blowing up cars and all of that, You
knew how to do that? You knew how to set off bombs?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that era, I don't know if you've heard of Butch Jones, YBI, and all of that out of Detroit. And they basically dealt with heroin. You had a young group of guys that were extremely mature because at that time, like I said, you couldn't go to prison. You would just go to jail. They'd call your parents to come pick you up.
Right.
So you had the older guys that were teaching younger guys to do these different crimes.
Sure.
And tell you, listen, be cool. I'm going to send an attorney down there for you.
Right.
You ain't got nothing because you can never get charged. And that was part of what made them change the laws and make them more severe. So after Marlo's gone, Marlo had me do certain things, but he was selective because he tried to stay away from violence to a degree because he knew what it was. But once he's gone, I don't have that direction, looking to older guys, and that's when they start taking advantage of you. So that's how that happened.
How much time did you do behind those bodies?
I don't think I did over 2 years. I don't think I did over 2 years. They did a psychiatric evaluation on me and my buddy because they wanted, I think it was a maxi training school at the time. That was something like a kiddie prison where you were locked down. I forgot the majority of the day and all that. But the psychiatric evaluation that they did for me, it came back that I love to isolate myself. So it was like, okay. And I guess the psychiatrist said he would love for you to put him in a cell, but that won't bother him at all because he don't like being around people. And I guess I'm kind of like that now. I don't really like, And so they put me in boys training school, Boysville of Michigan. And there you could never be alone. You had to always be with 3 or more at a time, and which I hated that. And pretty much that's what happened. And they couldn't release me before I turned 18. And I think I was like, so I might have did a little, maybe almost 2.5 years or something by the time I went into Boysville. Because when I turned 18, my situation was different because I had to actually have a judge come in, sit down, do minutes and all that to give permission for me to leave. But the thing is, they would not let me come back to Detroit and stay with none of my family. I would have had to go to independent living or either go down to Texas with my father. And so that's what I did. I went down to Texas with my father, got down there, went to Alamo Heights High School, Started running track, playing football, and things of that sort.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
You got out of prison for murder, and now you're in high school.
Yeah.
Different
Unheard
times,
of today.
man.
Different time. Totally different time.
Wow. Okay, so you graduated? You graduated?
I did not graduate. I stayed, well, not down there. Stayed down there for so long. My father's wife did not like me. And I wish I could say that I was a horrible kid, you know, and I brought it on myself, but I can't say that. She wanted her husband all to herself, you know, and I guess she felt that I was in the way. I mean, there was not much money down there, I will admit, for them. So when I came down, I was an extra mouth.
Yeah.
You know. So she wanted me out of there. And they talked to my probation officer. And my probation officer eventually agreed to send me back. He didn't when she first started because a lot of the teachers loved me down there. They really got on his ass, man. You know, you're not going to send him back up there. You know what's going to happen to him. Do your job type thing. And there was even teachers that even offered to let me move in with them. But basically, since I was still on parole or whatever they call that thing for kids down in Texas, he couldn't allow that. So they had to send me back to Michigan. And then, you know, I started staying with my aunt. I got back in school, played a little football. And then drugs came again.
Right.
Because I tried to be cool and not do anything. But Boysville in Michigan, they clothe you when you went in there. But this is like years after, and I still have the clothes from Boysville that I'm still wearing. And they're literally starting to come loose at the seams. So
you need money.
I got a skill set. And there were opportunity, and I started hustling again.
Guys, let me take a minute to thank today's sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. PrizePicks is the best way to get in on action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Do you think Justin Jefferson will get more than 83.5 yards next week? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. I love this app so much, even more than my Grindr account. I don't have the time to join a fantasy league and constantly be setting up lineups and looking at injury lists. I have something called a life. I run this podcast. But when a team I like is playing, I jump straight into the PrizePick app and start making my selections. It's my favorite time of year. The NBA season is right around the corner, and I cannot wait. But in the meantime, I've been putting in my selections for the NFL. So for instance, this week I've got Tyreek Hill for more than 97.5 receiving yards and Saquon Barkley for more than 67.5 rush yards. Download the app today and use code CONNECT, CONNECT, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CONNECT to get $50 instantly after you play just your first $5 lineup when you download the PrizePicks app today. PrizePicks, run your game. Okay, so now it's the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
How are you hustling?
At that time, you could throw a rock in any direction. Everybody had some dope. And I really got back with my cousin Howard. Again, may he rest in peace. And he still had a number of connections that we had from with the chambers. So he was getting hold of some work and things of that sort. He wanted to bring me along because I could always put a good plan together. We started going up to Muskegon, Michigan and selling crack. And, I mean, we would get up there, and it was kind of rough, but then I came up with a formula that we were going to sell 2 for 10 or 2 for 20 or something, a little gimmick. And we started moving quick. So we would get off the bus early in the morning, go on the strip. By later on that day, we'll be back on a Greyhound taking off, and we might have, well, nothing major, about maybe $5,000 or $6,000 worth of crack. And it will really go really quick, you know, but going back and forth, oh, listen, I'm going to hook you up and buy some clothes and all that. And that never happened. So,
are you forward thinking? Are you like, do you see that long term, if you want to survive and make real money, you need a wholesale connect to cocaine, to powder cocaine? Or are you still not thinking that grandiose?
At that time, the dream was of a key of cocaine. That
Right.
was the dream.
Drug dealer's destiny is reaching a key.
You know, if you get a key, man, you were,
a thousand grams. Woo.
Exactly. So, I mean, this was the dream, but nobody never knew how to get to it.
Yeah.
Because the unfortunate part, and I mean, shout out to my people. I love my people, but nobody's going to help you get there because everybody wants you to be a worker bee.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to basically try to suck the life force out of you and turn you into a workhorse, and they be the one that riding good and all of that while they're trying to keep you down.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the process. Man, if you continue, I'm going to front you this, I'm going to front you that.
Yeah.
But they put their elbow, foot, and wiggle their toes in the damn drugs before you get it. It's not jumping back the way it need to. And then they charging you a high price for it. And it just was like, it was crazy. You couldn't survive.
Right.
But we continued to work, and crack was the only way. You couldn't get off into selling any weight because there was no profit in it.
Right.
There was no
profit into selling weight.
There was no profit in it for us for selling weight.
I see.
Because you had to have access to it. And then when the crack era started, you used to be able to go to buy people and say, I want a half a key or this or that and powder. It got to the point where a guy with powder would never sell it to you.
Right.
He want to cook it and sell it to you cooked.
Right.
And then, where you ounces 23 grams, it turn, you only get 25 grams or you only get 24 grams. Right. And they steal 4 from you. Or you losing the cook up. Cocaine, you're not supposed to lose, supposed to expand.
Exactly.
But they never told us that. We never seen no powder. Only time I seen powder was when I used to watch Marlo cook it up.
Right.
But far as actually seeing it myself, no.
Yeah. So there's a ton of crack being sold in the ghettos throughout America in the 80s and 90s, but very little bit of profit is staying in the hood. It's going to a couple of people that have these special international relationships.
And then the unfortunate thing is even with them, the greed, within my opinion, is so gross to the point they didn't want to sell weight. You had some of the biggest guys that will get the cook it and cut it all in the crack and sell it that way, put everybody to work because they wanted to make the most they could make out of it instead of just moving it.
Right.
And that's one thing, as I moved along, I started to analyze things and figure out what each crew or whatever needed and how to get in those niches. Okay. And I figured that, and I found out, listen, I'm moving it. I don't want the street money. I want the cartels money. They got more of it.
Sure.
But nobody really had that concept then.
When did you start to realize that? At what age?
That's a good question.
Like, when did you learn what a cartel was? Like, when did you learn that these people that speak Spanish are the ones that have the source material?
The crazy thing, Johnny, is I never knew. It's just I ended up in a scenario because after that, going through that, I think I was maybe, how old was I? I went through another run selling drugs. My cousin ended up with a lot of it. I think it was coming out of New York or something. And he was putting me on. I'm moving it. But I'm mostly selling like bricks, half a brick, so on and so forth. But he would never give me powder either. He would cook it up and I sell it to people hard.
Okay.
But there's a lot of people that didn't know how to cook because it got so to the point nobody had access to powder that nobody knew how to cook. Because everybody was buying it hard. So you had a very select group that knew how to cook, which you would hear later on that it would be like cooks in the neighborhood that would cook for everybody.
Right.
And they would get so much of a percentage off of whatever they cook because the art of cooking was lost.
Right.
So
and your cousin was giving you these large amounts, half keys, whole keys, but already cooked up.
Already cooked.
And then you just charge a markup to your distributors, to your street.
Actually,
salesmen?
what I started doing, I switched in. Well, I still had some crack. I still couldn't let it go. But I had guys that wanted to buy halves and wholes, but all hard because they didn't know how to cook. So what I would do, and that's why I guess I could say I got the concept. because I became valuable to him because I understood that I would help him move his bag and then I could take longer with mine. So whatever I would get, he would let me cut it up and take forever because I was constantly moving his. So I'll cut mine down and I'll make the most I could make out of it. And I'll be moving, half keys and keys hard for him. He keep the extra off of that, plus still tax me and I tax other people.
But you're still just charging a markup. You're not getting powder yet.
No. I'm still just charging the markup. How the whole powder thing, the whole way the connection that I got landed in my lap, I was not looking for that. I was looking for weed. Actually. So I'll fast forward you. I had actually stopped hustling. I stopped hustling because I had a girlfriend, didn't want me doing it and all that. Like they say, any great movie won't put a damn woman in it, right? And she wanted me to stop. So I'm broke. She's giving me money, but I'm working jobs. I'll pay her back and all of this. So she ends up getting into it, falling out with me, and she wouldn't start dating a guy that was what? Selling drugs. So I call her one day, talking to her, and then gets up talking crazy, and he gets on the phone and starts talking, you a bum, you ain't this, you ain't that. I'm like, do you know who I am? I'm thinking to myself, I'm all world with drugs. You know what I'm saying? So at the time, my brother is getting bales of marijuana out of Arizona.
Okay.
I don't know it, but he's constantly coming over to my house and he's bringing the Mexicans with him. They need to use a computer. They need to use, so I'm letting him. Man, listen, the money good, man. You need to come on, man. I'm not doing that. My girlfriend don't want me to do it. You old bitch ass. But I'm not going.
He's kind of right.
No, he was totally right. And so now this the same brother, actually, that was part of who sent me and this other guy up in the house and did that thing. But I didn't know at that age. He was asking me questions about his organization. And I'm like, no, you should do this, you should do that. I'm not knowing that he's using me because I don't know the knowledge that Larry Chambers then put in me.
So he's picking your brain.
He's picking my brain, and I don't know it. Because I'm just young, just telling him from what I seen Marlo do. And so his organization got really big, but it was from my planning, but I didn't know it. So when he comes back with these Mexican guys, I need him back because he know how to put a damn plan together.
Yeah.
But, I'm not paying attention to all that. So anyway, bitch left me. I'm mad. I want my bitch back.
That was poetic. Can I write that down? I have that one.
Yeah, take it, man.
It's like a Willie Nelson line.
Yeah. So I call him and I'm like, hey, man, what's going on? He said, nothing, man. What's going on with you? I say, man, listen, I need some work. He say, well, you need some work? What's wrong, man? What's going on? Bitch, stop asking me questions. I need some work. This nigga got my bitch. I want my bitch back. So he said, come on down. So he gave me a bale of weed. The bale was like 25 pounds.
Yeah.
I took it. Didn't know who I was going to sell it to. Was out of the loop. I had an R&B group at the time.
You had an R&B group?
Yeah, because I was dealing with music.
You were like managing?
I was managing.
Okay.
And I'm going back and forth to Atlanta. So I know people down in Atlanta. That's what leads me to going to Atlanta at some point. So I got my group. They practicing. The weed's over. I'm breaking it down or whatever. So they invite one of their guys over to come sing too. This guy say, man, you got the good. I don't even know what that mean. I'm like, what that mean? You got the good weed. Give me a couple of pounds. No, you got to have money and this, that, and other. So one of the guys said, okay, take one, huh? He go, come right back. Let me give him another. He go, come right back. And this is why my guys is practicing. I got the big Tupperware thing there. And this keep going, give me 5. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Well, man, I had to call my brother back. I need more. Say, just gave you that. Come on. So he gets excited. I go take him the money. He's like, give me 2 bales. And so, bam, I get the 2 bales.
Is a bale 25 pounds?
Yeah, each bale is 25 pounds. It's actually 25, maybe a little, because they're doing it in a metric.
Right.
So it's a little bit more, but I'm not knowing at the time.
They're like kilos of weed.
Exactly.
Oh,
but
wow.
on the metric system.
Yeah.
So you got more grams in it than what they do over here.
Right.
So, because eventually I was wondering how I was selling so many bales, and I finally figured it out. They getting all them extras.
Right.
You not take, the other guys will break it down, take the extras off, and make, me, I didn't do it. I just pushed it out.
Right.
So anyway.
But that means you're moving it fast. Because you're giving more for the same market price.
But I'm not knowing it. I stumbled into it.
Yeah.
So anyway, he gives me 2 bales, and this guy's still running. He sells half of the one bale. Say, listen, man, I got a guy in the morning. He want a whole bale, but he want to get it before he go to work. He'll take it. He took it. Next morning, he comes back with the money. And then I sold a few more. I take my brother the money for the 2 bales. Then he gets mad at me. He said, damn, I was just trying to help you get a little money. You selling all my I got to go up on the price on you. I'm like, man, I don't want to hear that. I want my bitch. Give me this. So
what is your plan to get enough money, and you think that's what will get your bitch
I'm
back?
running off raw emotion, man. I'm running off raw emotion. This and talk to me crazy. I got the skill to make meals, bitch, and I'm about to show you. I'm about to run it up.
The mentality in the ghetto is very strange, and I don't understand it to this day. You're selling more drugs, therefore your price goes up. Tell me in what economic universe that makes sense.
It makes no sense.
And you got enough money, you get your bitch back. No. You get a new one. You upgrade. But
you saying all the right, but see, what you just said there is important about the more you go, the price comes down. I learned that when I started dealing with the Mexicans.
Right.
And I started using that on them because the concept that you're saying is absolutely right. Because what would happen with the Mexicans when you get them, oh, you got 1,000 pounds, we're going to send you 2,000 pounds.
Right.
We're going to send you 3,000 pounds. You're like, yeah, and be happy about that. You dumb. The price of the work comes down.
Right.
It's not coming down for you, but it's dropping on them, and they're keeping all of it.
Right.
But we don't know that.
It's volume. They understand the concept of time. Time and less transactions,
but see,
make dropping the wholesale price justifiable.
Because you doing business. We doing loyalty.
Right.
Business and loyalty don't go together. 2 different concepts. This is capitalism. What the does loyalty have to do with that? If you want loyalty to this business, bitch, I'm gonna charge you a tax, a loyalty tax, because it's to your brand.
Right.
Because we're not doing business. So you're absolutely right. I mean, exactly what you said was spot on. So I'm still in an ancient, archaic form of thinking. I want my same bitch back.
But you're moving it though. Like you are now becoming invaluable to these international connects because you're the salesman. What do you think made you a good salesman?
What made me a good salesman is that I wasn't going in. I wasn't concerned about what you made. My whole thing is I want to move it.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is I want to be the best. And not from the best of, oh, I need to be I want to be the best because I know the workhorse runs the bag. So if I'm the workhorse, I run the bag. What I say, go. And as you said, the problem that you pointed out came because the Mexicans started to notice that he started to move a lot faster and they started to ask questions. He started to increase and then they started to keep the price the same on him. And I said, listen, man, why you keep charging me the same price and going up on me, but you get more work? So I started to argue with him. And so what I do, I started to play, started to slow down. Because now I know he getting pressure from them because they seen he can work faster.
Wow.
And so they started to squeeze him. And so he has to come drop the price on me. And so I started to go back and forth. The wheels started to click in. I get my bitch back. I got rid of the bitch too. So.
Oh, ego.
Exactly. He was getting 750 pounds at the time.
Who's that?
My brother.
Okay.
I basically run through all of it, but he had to split it with the guy that was coming up from Arizona. The guy take 350, he take 350 or however it breaks down. So what I noticed is when that next load came, I ran through all of it. That he had to start pulling back from his people and pulling out the street. And so when he got done, he had to put a call in down to Arizona, and the Mexicans down there told him to go take the stuff from the other guy on the west side. And the load had just came in. I sold it all within a matter of hours.
Wow. How many people did you have picking up from you?
At that point, what I did, the crazy thing about it, Johnny, is I didn't know how this weed would go. To this day, I don't know what's good weed and what's bad weed. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I knew guys that from dealing with cocaine, and they knew guys with weed. And so I just tapped into them. And they just would come get it, and they bring the money back.
Yeah.
And that's just how it went. To this day, I don't know what good weed. I don't know none of it. But I just knew guys that could reach out to other people that knew people, because I'm really an introvert.
Yeah.
So we went over, grabbed the rest of it. I moved the rest of it. Within that one day, at that 750, it was gone. So down there, which you'll find out when I go a little further about this little black girl I met at an Arizona stripper, taught me that all Mexicans were greedy. And I started to see it. So they increased to 1,500. They increased to 1,500. They split. Same thing. When they came in, it was like a day and a half. I sold all my brother's part. They sent me over to get. Wow. So eventually they just told the other guy, listen, you don't go up there no more. You in the way.
Right.
You just deal with it getting up there. So they increased again. And that's when I started to say to my brother, because I started knowing my brother was giving the weed to his people that were not paying him, because he's a big cream puff. They're not paying him, and they're, And then I finds out that he's charging them less than he's charging me. But I didn't get into that because I see where this is going. Make your money. I don't care, because I'm moving it so quick anyway. So eventually I end up with all of it, but they went to him, and what they did, they told him to bring me down for a party that they were having. He didn't want to bring me. So they held up the work. So he agreed to come down, but he had to bring me down to Arizona. Wow. So when he brings me down to Arizona, we went to a strip club. They took us out to a strip club called The Body Shop.
Where in Phoenix?
Was this Tempe? Is that the name of that?
Tempe?
I think it was in Tempe.
It's a suburb of Phoenix?
Yeah, it was Tempe. And then later on, we went down to...
Tucson.
Later on, we went down to Tucson. But right then, we were in Tempe in The Body Shop.
And so they wanted this guy from Detroit who's moving all these thousands of bricks in a day, they want to meet you because...
But I'm not knowing this, but I kind of figure it.
Wow.
Okay, we get down, we go in The Body Shop. They have their little relative. We always called him Joe Pesci because he looked like Joe Pesci. And he spoke English horrible. But he's standing next to me. Now, the guy that was in charge of bringing the stuff that they had to split with my brother at the time was around my brother. So, but the little midget guy sitting next to me. And so he's like, man, this girl, she's my friend. This girl, she's looking at you, my friend. I look over, she's beautiful. She couldn't be looking at me. So I'm looking like she got to be looking at somebody. Oh, no, she got to be looking at somebody else. And, man, I said, no, she's looking at you. He said, no, listen, my friend. She's looking for you. I look again, and she over there dancing and wiggling and shaking and all this. And I'm like, no, she ain't looking for me. So I keep my head straight. And then he tapped me. He said, my friend, here she comes. Here she comes. I look up, oh my God, this Coco goddess walking straight at me in stilettos, baby. And I'm like, man, skin looked butter soft, bro. She came and sat down on my lap, threw her legs across me. And, I can't remember what the hell she said to me. And she's like, I know, she said something like, oh, so you wasn't going to give me no eye contact? Man, I'm shaking like a Las Vegas crap table. Man, I'm nervous as hell. I'm like, well, listen, if you wanted me, you should have came over. She said, I did. I'm like, okay, well, what's the problem? And she says, no problem. I just want to know, are you available? I said, I said, if you looking for me, you just got to take what you want. And then she whispered in my ear, taking. I'm like, damn, this bitch bad. So, me and her, she gave me her number. She came and got with me that night. We didn't mess around or nothing. But come find out, I will find out later on that she was dating the Connect's uncle that was giving them the marijuana. But she never said nothing. So really, she eyed me coming in with them, and she knew. But I didn't know, okay? But she would be very valuable later on. But anyway.
Okay.
Right.
She'll come into play. Good.
Exactly. So we end up going down to...
So what was the point of... what kind of business did you discuss? I guess you're going to get to that, right?
We're about to get to that.
Okay, I apologize.
No, you're good. We went down to Tucson. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't heard nothing about Tucson except in Biggie songs, when he's talking about when he went and performed the hit, his man, what is it? I forgot the name of the song. He said he was from Tucson.
Oh, okay.
And it was some hit or whatever that went down. He called his man something, El Dorado, something from Tucson or whatever. Anyway, we go down there and we go to the place, and it's called the Candy Store. There's a whole funny story with that. But anyway, this point is a guy, in his real name anyway, Mario. Mario's belligerent. Mario, but I like Mario. Mario is flat out, he's emotional, but he's belligerent. He can't stand my brother. He says my brother's too soft. So he has us, we're riding, and they said, listen, my friend, I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to do something special for you, my friend. You don't worry. I got this young lady down here that I'm going to put her on you. I call her a vampire. I call her a vampire bitch. He said, because when she gets you, she's going to suck the life out of you, my friend. She's going to, and he's going on about how she's going to suck it. And I'm like, okay, I'm scared. Actually, she's going to bite you. She's going to bite you all over. She's going to suck the life out of you and all of this. And my brother's getting jealous of it, but I'm like, whatever. And he goes on to say, he just keeps going on. Anyway, he get us down there, and he introduces us to this young lady. And she has a friend with a British accent. So she puts me with her, and she takes my fat ass brother. So we down there, and they dancing and all this. And this woman here, she's sitting with me, and we're talking. My table starts to fill up with beers. I'm like, this bitch buying me beers or something? I don't know what's going on. Okay. I'm looking at my brother. He's way over here with this other lady, the vampire bitch. And we know, of course, he's going to grab her to try to keep her from me anyway. That's just how he is. But so I asked her something. I was like, why are you buying all these beers? She said, honey, I'm not buying these beers. I look over at my brother. I'm like, he ain't buying them. She said, these beers are coming from these guys. And I look. She said, look over here. And I looked to the one table. Mexican guys nodded. Mm. I'm like, whoa. I'm starting to get it. Excuse me. And she said, I'm like, why are they sending the beers? She said, they want to be friends. I'm like, well, I'm not the man. My brother's the man. She laughed. She said, oh, is he? I said, yeah, because I'm still not catching on. She said, look at your table. How many beers you got? I think I had maybe like 15 damn beers on the table, right? Wow. She said, look over at his table. How many you see? I see the one he's been. So evidently, what you see, everybody else in here don't see. You see him as the man, but nobody else, because they're sending it all to you. Hmm.
How did they know you were the guy that was moving it all the way up there in Detroit? How did they know you were the real
what I found
distributor?
What I found out, oh, you mean the Mario and eventually I'll say Frank. My brother, love him, he gonna hear this, but he's a up. I mean, he doesn't, good heart, but he was always coming short. He wasn't paying like he was supposed to. He'd get the marijuana, it might take him a month and a half, and they started moving it quick. So I'm thinking over time what happened is, so let me have to edit this out, but excuse me. What happened over time is the guy on the west side that we had to go pick up from, he told them because he got an opportunity to see me because my brother didn't even have a crew. Right. I had to load it up in the van and drive it myself. My brother was scared to drive it. So he told them. And so they squoze the information out of my brother. And like I said, my brother didn't want to bring me down, but they made him because they wouldn't send him nothing else. So now when I come, they already have an idea because the guys there at the strip club are with us. And now they got me to themselves going down to Tucson.
So they're pushing your brother out of the way because they want to deal with you directly.
And they tried to, but I would not let them. Okay. And that, I guess, the term what they call, they tried to jump you. I wouldn't let them jump him because that's my brother. And he actually set me up later. But anyway, so we eventually end up having a conversation. And Frank came and got us the next morning to drive us back up to Tempe or wherever in Arizona to go ahead and get ready to catch a flight back. But he wanted to discuss wanting to increase. So
increase the size of the loads.
Increase the size of the loads. So there was already a load that had left. Actually, we didn't know it, but left like a day before we were supposed to leave. So it could meet us up there, so to speak. And he had us in the car on the ride back, and he's talking about the business, saying what he want to do. And I started to talk, just started to come to me. Okay, well, what we're going to need, if you're talking about giving us this amount, we're going to need to borrow some money from you because we're going to need to get some places to store this stuff. We need to get vehicles to move it in. And I'm noticing he's not talking. He just started listening and squinting his eyes and shaking his head. And my brother's sitting up front like, yeah, that's exactly what we planned. And as we got closer to Tucson, because he could throw out scenarios, I would answer back. And he told me, he said, Wayne, I really like the way you think about the business. And that pretty much set the tone. So they sent us like 2,500 pounds. Got rid of that in like 3 days.
Wow. All to cats in Detroit.
Yeah. But again, these guys, some of these guys, and one of them became a really close friend of mine because when I got off into the cocaine, I could go borrow 400, 500,000 from this guy. You know, so he had guys in Ohio and other places that were coming up paying cash.
Huge hub. Detroit's a huge Midwest hub.
So that's coming in, and it got so to the point, Johnny, that they started sending like about 45, like 2 to 3 metric tons
of pot.
Yeah. And I'm moving this in like a day and a half, 2 days. When they come in, they would start saying, well, when they come in, listen, we at least need $1 million or 1.5. I was like, okay, no problem. And I would have it. Okay. They would have the trucks sit there and wait. The would come, and I literally, probably within a few hours, I would have like 1.5, 1.7.
Wow.
And my brother was raping me, charged me like $9.50, crazy numbers.
$9.50 a pound?
Yeah.
Okay. How much were you turning that over?
Listen, I was selling it, Johnny. I wasn't even counting. And this is what happened.
But how much are you charging on a pound? Like if you get it for $9.50 and you sell a guy 500 pounds.
Sometime I wouldn't make nothing. I know it sounds crazy to you, but sometime I wouldn't make nothing. Like my one guy that's buying that volume like that, maybe $25 on him or something, sometime nothing. Because I'm working on something bigger.
Sure.
Okay. So because what's happening, the shit moving so fast now, within a matter of hours, I'd have made it $200,000-$300,000. You might get it, what, $975? I might charge you $1,000, or if you ain't got it all, pay me later. And because what happened after was, I think about 3 months of that, I had like $1 million in weed that was mine.
Wow. Just from making $25, $50 a pound.
And that's how that quick that was going. And I didn't know, and this is how I found that out. Because I'm going through my math, and I'm thinking about what I got to pay my brother, right? He's like, man, you only owe me a couple $100,000. No, man, your numbers is wrong. I got a basement full of weed down here. Your numbers are wrong. Man, my numbers ain't wrong. Check your numbers again. I go down there and check the numbers. And now I got U-Haul boxes, because only the big U-Haul boxes, only 4 25-pound bales could fit in those. I still got boxes up the ass of marijuana. That's how I figured out how much money I had. And at that time, I think I had like $750,000 in marijuana that was mine. How the I did it? I don't know. I was just moving it. So when that happened, I'm rich, bitch.
Yeah.
For real.
So now you got a war chest. Now you got $1 million. It's yours.
That's all mine.
Okay.
But then what started to happen, they started to play games. Because what I started doing, I started making them come down, come down, come down. They had another group inside the city that they were working with. So they were trying to transition into switching over to them because I had made that market so lucrative. So the whole thing was to switch the market over to somebody else, charge them a higher price, and just have the customers go to them. It's the same weed.
Fascinating.
But what they didn't know, I had a cousin over there that was on that team, and I'd had him working with me. So he started telling me, hey, these two guys, they're reaching over and they're talking to, my guys about trying to send over to them now. Okay. I'm talking to the young lady at the strip club. She wants to get an exercise gym, workout gym. She's a workout freak. So I already started to go down and see her. So I'm starting to tell her, listen, I need another connection. And, well, I don't know, baby. I might have something for you and da-da-da-da. So I'm feeding her money. That's what Detroit do. We feed bitches money. You know what I'm saying? And she ends up introducing me to a guy named B. Brian. But he has a weird name, so just call himself Brian. So she had me at, I think the hotel was the Phoenician out there. Phoenician, I can't remember what city in Arizona. But I know, I guess Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley used to go out there. I think it was like $1,000 or $1,500 a night or something like that. Real bougie bitch. But anyway, she has him come out and meet me. He has a
Scottsdale?
Scottsdale. That's it. Scottsdale. So she has him come out to meet me, and we're sitting and we're talking. We're talking about the amount of volume that I'm looking for, and I'm telling.
And this is a Mexican guy as well.
This is the Mexican guy.
Let me ask you before we go further. Do we know what organization these guys are with on the other side? Are they with a cartel? What kind of?
Now, Brian was not with a cartel. Are you talking about Mario and Frank?
Mario and Frank.
I found out that Mario and Frank's uncle was. Because that's the one that the girl that I was dating.
Right. Okay.
But exactly what cartel, I don't know. But an interesting story comes up in a little while.
I'll let you get to it. Yeah.
Okay. So
you're talking to B.
I'm talking to B. We're talking, and I'm telling him the volume I want. I kept saying, I need volume. I need volume. I need to at least be able to put my hands on 2 to 3 tons
per month.
I was doing that, Johnny, in less than a week.
Right.
But I'm not telling him that.
Right.
I'm just telling him what I need.
Right.
Okay. Now, from my old head, this is important. My old head told me, with dealing with those individuals down there, never tell them you have money to buy. Just tell them you can move it.
Mm.
And the reason why, he said, because there's informants down there. And their job is to set you up. But they can't make no money if you don't come with cash, because they get a percentage of the money.
Wow.
So if you say you don't have no money, they're going to say, F you, and move on.
Right. Wow.
So
mind-blowing tip.
Exactly. So that's what I'm telling him. I don't have no money, but I can move it.
Right.
I have no money, but I can move it.
Mm-hmm.
So she used to date him when they were younger. So he really wants to get back. He's in love with her. Beautiful girl, you know. And I had that problem too. So anyway, what happens is he said, well, listen, how do you feel about going across? I ain't trying to go over there. He said, listen, my friend, I could take you across. We could talk to some people. And so he eventually took me over at some point, and we met with the Tijuana Cartel. So that's how that started.
And you went down into Tijuana.
But it wasn't, not yet. We're just talking right now.
All right.
Okay, but he's eventually going to take me there. So just give me a look. Okay, so he said he's going to call some people. So she comes back. Now, at this time, it's kind of crazy. She's beautiful, but she likes to work out. And maybe work out a little hard sometime. So at this point, I'm supposed to be giving up the ass. Okay.
But she hasn't even given you yet.
No, I haven't. I never took it. I know it sounds crazy, you Johnny, but I'm trying to get to the bag, okay, man?
All right, sure.
Okay. So, and from my experience, when you put in something up,
absolutely,
she knows too many people.
Right. Oh.
So I don't need her falling in love with.
Okay.
Not saying that I'm good enough for that to happen, but you know, I don't need that with the business.
Oh, interesting.
So that's why I'm just giving her money.
Yeah.
So it's not enough for you to turn away from me because you like the money.
Okay.
So I'm withholding.
Oh, you just redeemed yourself. The whole audience thought you were the simp of the year.
I'm on my way, baby.
Okay. No. I like this.
Work
all right.
with me, Johnny. Work with me. I'm coming alive now.
Hell yeah. No, respect,
Okay.
respect. Okay.
So she comes in one night and we're supposed to do it, right? She come in. That's the time they had all these damn strawberry smelling lotions and all this shit. She didn't smell up the whole damn place with this. So, you know, I'm laying there like I'm asleep, but I peek my eye open, right? And, man, she bends over to, you know, do some old sexy, put the lotion on the leg thing. Man, this whole bitch thigh cut the fuck up. I mean, like a bodybuilder. I'm like, what the f? I didn't know, but I found out later she gets in bodybuilding competitions.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she was a man. Oh, I thought you said this is your introduction to trans women. Oh,
but listen, it's damn near there. But okay. So I'm like, damn. So I started.
Yeah.
you know, so she didn't bother me, thank God. So I had to get her ass up, right? So next morning, B is excited. He comes back. Listen, I got somebody that wants to meet you, whatever. So she convinces me, go ahead. She's getting excited because she want to open this big gym up down there. So she gets me in a truck with him. I start going down. I just changed my mind at the last minute, getting nervous. Now, come on, man, they're waiting now. No, that take me back. I'm not going. So anyway, took me back. So I goes back to the city. Get back to the city. Frank and they still going through this bull, ripping my brother off, playing these different games and all that. But then I figured that my brother owes them money as well. So I'm talking back and forth with B. B starts to come up. He starts to borrow money from me. And I started loaning it to him. I'm giving it to her as well. You know, putting all his money to use, investing, I guess you could say. So anyway.
But B is bringing you work up to the city now.
He's not bringing nothing yet.
Okay.
But he's broke. But she's telling me that B's a fuck up. He gets work from over there, and then he robs them, and he doesn't pay them.
Okay.
But B's uncle was somebody big over there. I know his uncle, father, somebody, and had a lot of respect over there, and I would find out that over there would be the Tijuana Cartel. Okay. So they tolerate him.
What year is this?
This is, I'm the worst with years, Johnny.
But it's the 90s, though.
It's hold on. No, this is late 90s.
Okay.
Going into like 2000.
Okay. Gotcha.
This might be 2000 because I get that BMW, that spaceship 745 Li like 02, 03.
Okay.
Okay, so it might be like early 2000s. Okay. Anyway, okay, where was it?
So you're giving money to B. Why?
Okay, I'm giving money to B because she's giving me information that he's broke. He's broke and he probably owes somebody over there. So part of paying them off, they'll let him get something else. So, because she's feeding me information. Okay. And then I find out the work stopped coming with my brother. And he tells me, man, Big Sexy, which was the truck driver that was bringing it, he got busted out there on the highway and this, that, and the other. I'm like, really? He said, so that's why we ain't got nothing else. And so I'm talking with B. So B gets somebody down there to start sending a little something up, but sending it through the mail. I'm feeling like a peasant getting through the mail, but you know, it is what it is. So when we get there, I'll just pay him the money out. Yeah. Just the illusion like we're moving it fast.
And how much can you get through the mail?
I don't remember how much it was, John. It wasn't. I would give him like 50 or 60,000. And the thing about it, but it was compressed. So it was nothing that we could really do nothing with it. But I'm just, it pay you, you pay them.
Yeah.
And so it ended up working out, but I'll tell you how in a minute. Excuse me. So we worked that's going. So she calls me back down to come see her because B wants to take me across. He didn't set up a meeting. So I goes down, I meet with her. She said, baby, he really has something big for you, so on and so forth. So I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, something strange is going on. I said, but I need you to really help me get a hold of something. And I started telling her what happened with Big Sexy and all this. And she said, baby, she said, I'm going to tell you something. She said, I've been refraining from telling you this. She told me Frank and Mario's name. I never told her their name. She said they have a grandmother, told me where the grandmother stayed, and said they have an uncle that they get work from. And the uncle right now is threatening to kill them. I'm like, are you serious? She said, listen to me. So I'm thinking like, bitch, you making stuff up. You trying to set me up, something going on. But then she says to me that he's giving them so much time to pay him back because they gave him fake paperwork. And they stole a load. They jacked him for a load. I'm like, damn.
We've heard that's common. We've actually heard from the horse's mouth when we were in Mexico last week. The dealers on this side, Mexican dealers, will get it from the connects in Mexico, say they got busted, make fake arrest paperwork, and give it to them as proof that, hey, nothing, we got arrested, nothing we could do, we lost it.
I got so much more for you. This is going to get crazy.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm like, wow, and it's totally screwed me up because he had just told me before I left, listen, Frank's in the bad spot, man. He in the bad spot. He gonna send something to us, but he needs to work fast because he has to pay the connect because they won't. He gave him the paperwork, but they won't let him. But Preston, we need to pay him fast. Need to pay him fast. So now I know why you need to pay him fast, because he didn't jack this money and he has to pay his uncle. And the only thing keeping his uncle from hurting you is his mother is begging him, don't, you know. So that let me know I really have to make something work. So B takes me across, and I give these guys nicknames because I can't remember their names. There's one guy he took me, I call him Boots, because he always wore nice ostrich skin boots. And that's the drug deal over there, the ostrich skin boots and the big belt buck on the hat. You know, so
you're in Sonora right now.
I'm in Mexicali.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm
in the city of Mexicali. Okay.
In the city of Mexicali. But I think at that point, we're slightly outside of that city. But we meet with Boots. Boots make an arrangement for us to meet with some other people the following day, but they had to come in town. We go into Mexicali. We go into Mexicali. We go to the strip club. And we're in the strip club. I got a crazy story. I don't know if you want me to tell that.
We want to hear how you met the plug.
Okay, well,
we got to get to that.
We'll come back to that. So anyway, what ends up happening is we end up going to meet Boots again. We went to another city. I can't remember the name of the city, but there's a lot of kidnapping goes on in that particular city. And huge club. The club is huge. They got, I guess, each section of the club is a different brand of music. Wow. So we go in, we're up in VIP, the plug is there, and it turns out to be some of the Tijuana guys, but I don't know it. So we cut a deal that night for them to send me up a load.
Wow. What were those details?
The details,
how much? It
was like 1,500 pounds.
Okay.
1,500 pounds. And
would they front you, or do you come with cash? How does that work?
All I had to do was pay the driver.
Nice.
Pay the driver.
And how are they bringing up loads from the border all the way up to Detroit?
They didn't give me no details on that. But what I found out later is that the truck will come up so far, and then they would get the weed off, put it in the van or whatever, and then they would bring it to my little house.
All the way up to Detroit?
Yeah.
Wow, like it's UPS.
Yeah.
And they put them in vans? They put the work in vans?
They put it in vans. Okay. I don't know how far it came up, but it came out. I don't know if it came to Michigan or whatever, but they would get it off. It would be in like a minivan.
Yeah.
And then they would have a guy trail it. And then the minivan would come right, and they'll drop the minivan off. They jump in it, and they take off.
Wow.
You keep the minivan, you pull the work out, and then they come back, get the minivan later.
Yeah.
But when they did that, the weed again was compressed.
Right.
But I skipped over a part. But anyway.
And did they know you were the guy moving it?
Now, this is with the Tijuana Cartel.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with the Frank and because this weed is a total different type of weed.
Is it better?
It's not. It's worse.
Oh, okay.
It's worse. But the Tijuana Cartel is just horrible. Anyway, so I end up having to borrow money from my buddy to not use all my money, to just go ahead and pay it real quick.
Right.
It smoked good. It just didn't look good. It wasn't pretty to the eyes.
Right.
So I knew it would be a process, and I knew I probably had to get some more weed somewhere else and cut it and mix it in. But the fortunate thing for us at that time, there was no weed in the city. So that helped us get rid of a nice amount of it.
Yeah.
Because people like this, I'll just take this much of
like
it.
Hotcakes.
Exactly. Yeah. And plus, I'm the plug. I'm moving so much, they want to help me get to something better.
Right.
So anyway, that went, they want to meet me again. So I go down again. And they took me, I went to Mexicali, but they took me somewhere else, and it was at a club/bar. No, club/restaurant. Goes in this restaurant, and B takes me in. We go to the back of the restaurant, and we sit at a table. We talk, and they're speaking Spanish. I don't know what they're saying. But the vibes were not good for him. They were really interested in me, and I could feel that. And he's answering questions, but then they get hot at him for some reason. But I found out later, they count your words. So if he asks me a question from them and I answer, and they think that I'm saying too many words, they think he's lying. It's crazy. But anyway, it doesn't make sense, but it's going to make sense later. So anyway, a guy comes in, a younger guy. He has on Gucci loafers, Gucci belt, Americanized, hair all spiked up and things, you know. But I just noticed how everybody started moving and acting around him. So I find out, I don't know which one, but I guess he was one, I don't know if he was one of the Tijuana brothers or one of their sons or something, but he was somebody and he spoke to me in English. Hey, how you doing, man? What's going on? I'm like, whoa. He's like, we're looking forward to working with you. Wow. I'm like, well, looking forward to working with you. So
they know you're the responsible one. Like all of their, it just seems like this whole process is just a ruse to get all of these bums out of the way because they want to deal with you.
Exactly.
Because they know the money's going to come back right.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Were you like, God, this is surreal. Like I'm this like orphan that used to work in like Detroit crack houses, this black guy, never supposed to have nothing. And now I'm surrounded by a bunch of Mexican kingpins and cowboy hats. Like that must have been,
you know, Johnny, that's something that never really came to me like that. And this is the reason why it never came to me like that, because I had a fear of black bottom. I had a fear of that beyond imaginable poor. And I was more afraid of that. So whatever took me to ending that and never going back to that again, I don't give a. That's where I was at.
Yeah.
But I was starting to get it. The old sage of Marlowe and the different things, I'm starting to see it now in real time.
Yeah.
I'm able to read it. I'm able to see it. And, you know, so now I'm clicking and I'm noticing that I have a new skill set.
Yeah.
And I don't speak the language, but I understand everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So we get back across, but at this time, my brother's calling me because he has a load coming in. He can't move it. So when I finally get across, he's like, man, I've been calling you and I was wondering what's going on. I know you're down there seeing your girlfriend, but for some reason, when I was calling you, a Spanish woman kept coming up saying like, because I'm over in Mexico. So my phone is registering over there. You calling me, the Spanish woman kicks in and say whatever in Spanish, but he don't understand it. So anyway, I get back. I think Frank's saying they cut the load down. It's like maybe like 1.5 tons. Get there, get rid of that quick. But now I'm going back down. Go back down. I meet with B. B tell me they're about to send a load up. So I get back. B comes back like a couple of days later, and they send another load up. Weed is better. So it's like 1 ton of this.
Okay.
But I'm noticing the weed had like a lot of white chalk on it. Because it's wrapped, and these bales were like 19 or 20 pounds, not 25. And it's wrapped in like black tape. I'm like, what the fuck is this chalk? So I grab it, I do this. I'm like, this cocaine.
Wow.
So these motherfuckers were shipping weed and cocaine up together. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then the guy that drops it off, this guy, like, you can tell he's high as
yeah.
He's not even supposed to be talking. He's supposed to drop the van and get the on. But now he wants to sit around and talk a little bit. And he's like tweaking, you know?
Right.
I'm like, oh, these guys are rogue, man. What the fuck going on? You know, so we get rid of it. And hey, my friend, I want to ask you something. You know, do you deal with the white? Do you like the white? No, I'm not interested in the white.
Hang on. So were they intentionally putting cocaine on the weed to make it better? Or was that a smuggling technique? Were you breaking the weed down and then taking the shards of coke and selling that? Do you see what I'm saying?
This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, okay, now let me clarify something.
Those economics don't make sense.
Because I think that you're thinking that the weed was on, the cocaine was on the weed.
Yeah.
It was not on the weed. It was on the wrapping.
I see. Gotcha.
So I don't know if somebody was sniffing off of it or if something broke open while they were transporting it.
Oh, interesting.
Or whatever. But that ain't never happened before.
Okay.
You know, so, and shortly after that, I start hearing, you know, hey, you do deal with the white.
Right.
So I think they were doing it maybe hoping that I would inquire, maybe. I don't know.
See. Okay.
But as high as this guy was, I don't know if he was busting it open and sniffing off the damn or whatever.
Okay.
You know. So anyway, we get rid of it. And they go ahead and they switch out and give me another handler and kind of move B to the side. But one of the times I went down, it was a guy named Orlando and Danny. Danny's very important. Orlando and Danny grabs me and they take me around to see the mariachi bands and all this, giving me the full Mexican experience. So when I get ready to split up from them to come back, they're telling me, listen, you should deal with it. Well, no, I'm not going to jump B. And that's when you say, listen, I'm going to tell you something, my friend. Your friend's no good. One thing he's going to do is he's going to use you. He's going to get us to continue to send things. He's going to borrow money from you, and it's going to be for what did you owe us. Then he's going to say that you stole something. But I'm not, even though I know he's a piece of shit, but I want to keep the rule, the loyalty, right? So anyway, we ended up, I'm doing good with them, but I don't like how they work. They're erratic, and then they start, like I said, they send this handler, but he has guys in Ohio. He really doesn't like me because they're trying to get me to move the cocaine, but I'm telling them the price I want. I told them that I want like 17. And he didn't like that because he knew he could get the guys in Ohio to take it for like 20 something. And then he could make that extra money. And then they even went as far as sending a guy up with him to come see me. And we met down at Fishbones downtown. And we sat and we talked. And I told it because I really didn't want to deal with it. So I was giving them crazy prices. I told this guy 16 and he jumped at it. The Mexican guy stopped him and started speaking to him in Spanish, but he got front, hold. And the guy looked, and he's like, well, hold on, we're going to meet back with you. But the guy B that you're dealing with, we don't want you dealing with him no more. Get rid of his number. Don't call him no more. Don't talk to him no more. But I'm not understanding at that time, they most likely bought the contract from B.
Can you explain that, buying the contract? What does that mean in the drug game? You mentioned that before the podcast.
And I got a good one coming for you. But buying the contract is business. I come, you bring me. You getting the work, you giving it to me. It's coming to me basically on consignment.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'll pay the driver. So it's really being fronted to you.
Yeah.
But it's given to me under your name. So whatever I pay, you have something on each pound or each key.
Right.
So when they collect the money, they give you back yours. And
so it's really just like a handling fee.
It's a handling fee. But you have the contract. So what do I mean by that? That at some point, once I continue to work good, they want you out of the way. Right. Because they're going to want to keep that part that you got. Right. And they're going to want to pull a finagling and all this on me. Right. So they need you out the way because you know other people down there. So they'll offer to buy the contract for me from you. And that might come with a position inside the cartel as well as money. But in his case, he owed them a lot of money. So they were going to forgive the debt and whatever. The whole details of it, I don't know, but I know it went something like that because of the girl, the tequila, not tequila, I call her baby doll. She told me later on.
Understood.
Some of it.
Okay.
So anyway, that was the thing. But I never got rid of him because I'm still under the loyalty thing. I'm not getting it, even though he's no good for me. But anyway, so they sent me up another load of marijuana. The marijuana from Frank and them is still coming. So I'm helping my brother out with that. But it's starting to slow up a little again. So they're still sending weed, but it starts to get worse. It had gotten manageable. But now since B's supposed to be gone, they're pulling the again. They're sending garbage up and wanting me to get rid of it. And then that's why I tell them to come get it. Because I found out that tactic. When they send it, they don't want to take it back. They want the money back. It costs them to bring it back. So when you get them in that position, they'll say, well, hold on, my friend, hold on. They're going to try to argue with you at first. We're going to send somebody up to see if it's there. You send them there, you let them come up, let us see it and see it's all there. Well, listen, my friend, what do you think you could sell it for? And they will start negotiating. You bring the price way down. And that's how you crack them in the ass.
Right.
Where they won't play with you anymore.
Right.
So, but with this here, he didn't like me anyway. He wanted to give it to his garbage men in Ohio. So he agrees to take care of it for the cartel because he really don't want them dealing with me. And what you'll find out as you go on, the Mexican over here and the Americanized Mexicans over there don't want the cartels dealing with us, meaning black people or people like you.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something later on that's going to...
Why is that?
This is what the baby doll told me that I learned out to be my rule of thumb. She told me 3 things. Mexicans always lie. Mexicans are greedy. And she said they're also jealous of you because of your. She said that. Who knows how true that is?
I am too. Just kidding.
Well, let me shut up. But anyway, so what I found out is that
I'm sorry. So they want, in general, the real cartel plugs always want a Mexican intermediary or handler.
They don't
giving the
want,
work to their distributors like you.
They don't want to. They have to because of the language barrier.
Right.
The language barrier, and they don't understand the culture.
I see.
Okay. They don't want them in the place that they are because the cartel has a weakness. Cartel has 2 weaknesses. They're vulnerable with the drivers, and they're vulnerable at the point of sale.
Right.
And what happens is the Mexicans, or the Americanized Mexicans, they get in between us and them, and then they make the load slow down sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it doesn't have to slow down. They may hold it. They can't make them move it no faster. It's slow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why they had me go down to Atlanta, which I found out later.
Okay.
Because they squeeze them and they make them come down on the price. It's too high. You charging too much. If you just drop it some, we could sell it faster. Or
okay. So there's like middlemen. So right now you're dealing with like cartel middlemen still.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I see. And so they are essentially, and in mid shipment, they can squeeze the plugs in Mexico, their bosses, and say, hey, you got to bring the price down. And they could lie and say, yeah, my guys in Detroit can't move it at this price. And
see, the Mexicans over there are in a quagmire because they have to make payments every quarter to the government.
Right.
So if you're running a plaza, you have to make a payment every quarter.
Right.
If you don't make that payment, you lose protection and you lose the plaza.
Yeah.
Somebody else buys the plaza, then you have to pay the work.
Right.
And they know the payments, so they squeeze them.
Right.
And there's nothing they can do because they don't speak the language and they're vulnerable.
And you have to make your payments down there to the government, or else you can't move your stuff across the border.
And then if the American government wants you, they give you up, and all other nasty things start happening to you.
That's right.
And so they squeeze them like that.
I see.
You know.
So that's their issue. But they want you out. They want to deal with you directly. But at this point, they still can't figure out how to do it yet.
They can't figure out how to do it. And then I'm still caught with the stigmatism of how we Black people think this go.
Right.
That, they're the plug, they're the this, they're the that. And it don't really go that way. So whatever they call, you going because you don't want to lose the plug, not knowing that they're nothing but middlemen. They're garbage. No disrespect to my Mexican brothers and sisters out there. No disrespect to you. But they're nothing.
Right.
They're expendable. But we don't see it because we don't know how it really functions. So Danny taught me how, but go ahead.
Okay, but at this point, you still hadn't thought to just go around them.
I didn't know that there was a way to go around them yet.
Gotcha.
But I knew off vibe, this one guy, he did not like me because I'm going to run into other type that don't like you, don't want you over there. And I knew he was in the middle, stopping a lot of, even though I didn't want to deal with the cocaine anyway, and I didn't like dealing with the Tijuana Cartel, but there was still access to, you know. So what would have eventually ended up happening, that handler was making money off of me because they needed him there. But eventually, after I worked a little bit longer, bigger volumes, they would have moved him out the way. And then I would have had a direct.
Right.
But I learned that later on from doing more. But anyway.
Okay. Fascinating. Fascinating.
So what ends up happening from there, my brother gets cut off. They're not dealing with him anymore. The weed is coming, but then B comes back and takes me over to meet his uncle.
Okay, so you're down in Mexico meeting B's uncle, who is considering killing B. So there's some drama going on. But how does this relationship grow?
Well, what happens is we end up meeting a guy named Chewy. And Chewy is a facilitator down there for basically everybody that grows. And what he does, he takes their loads and he gets a market over here to get rid of it. But he has excuse me, he has trucks that are coming up, but are basically going to Chicago, with like trucks full of marijuana. So B goes back to Boots. He got his uncle there, but his uncle don't trust him. So he gets B gets Boots to basically speak for him with his uncle. Now I don't think this guy is his real uncle, but I think this guy is somebody that was real cool with B's uncle or father, whoever that tied B down there to the whole Tijuana thing down there. Okay, so Boots get Chewy involved. Chewy comes to me and Chewy talks to me. And Chewy he's heard about the weed I'm moving. He's interested. But he wants to give me a whole lot more weed. So I go down, I talk to him. So he's asking me like, okay, what would the truck come in at? What would you unload it at? And so on and so forth. So as I'm giving him this information, he's like, well, no, that's not going to work because, so what about the spot on the corner? How does he know this?
Wow.
But what he does, he's talking, but he got somebody using, I never knew about Google Earth. They're Google Earthing everywhere that I'm telling them and looking at the whole damn area.
Mm-hmm.
So B likes it. And not B, but Chewy like what he's hearing. He like what I tell him to drop spots and how I'm organized and so on. So he sends up B's uncle to come up. Now B uncle comes up and B comes with his uncle. So I'm going to show him a good time. I take him out to Benihana's out in, I think, Fairlane at the time. I don't know if Benihana's still out there. So as we're getting out the car, I got a couple of my guys with me. I got B's uncle with me and B. Guess who's coming out of Benihana's? Frank and Mario.
Wow. What are the odds of that?
Exactly, right? So I'm looking at them. They're looking at me. Frank is looking at me, but his face is starting to turn red. So I sense something. Mario's looking, but Mario is more like a So I tell, I believe it's Sam I had with me. I tell Sam to go ahead and take B and his uncle on in. Now, B uncle came up to see how it was set up. But when he came to see how it was set up, I had showed him weed that I had from the Tijuana Cartel, let him see I'm already working to make it more attractive. But I tell him to take them on in. So that actually was Big Eye. Sam stayed with me. So Frank walks up and says, hey, Wayne, how are you doing? I said, I'm pretty good. Frank, how are you? Face beat red. When are you going to pay me my money? What do you mean, pay your money? You owe me $300,000. When are you going to pay me my money? I said, whoa, player. I don't owe you no $300,000. I said, only thing I owe you is $70,000. And I'll give you that. Mario on the back. See, I told you. He's yelling in the middle of the park like arms flailing and all nine. I told you, Big Dog is my brother. He called him Big Dog. Big Dog is lying to you. I told you. So Frank looks at him. He's getting more red. But in disgust, he said, no, your brother owes me $300,000. And he said that you are the reason that I haven't got it because you've been. I said, no. I said, I've been the one moving everything. You came to me and tried to get me to jump my brother, and I told you I wouldn't do it. I owe you $70,000. And I said, if you want, you can have Mario or you meet me later on today, and I'll give that to you. I would have gave it to you, but I had no way of getting it to you because you haven't been. He said, because you owe me $300,000. I'm saying, I don't owe you no $300,000. My brother was older than you before I even came along. The way my brother was paying you is because I was there moving what I was moving, and you noticed. Mario in the back. I told you. He's yelling and screaming. I told you. You're dumb. You're dumb. So Frank is hot. He said, well, how are we going to deal with this, Wayne? I said, what you going to do? You're going to call my brother. You're going to talk to my brother, and you're going to arrange a meeting. I'm going to come along with the meeting, and my brother's going to tell you that he owe you, and I don't owe you nothing. I said, but later on, I'm handling business now, but later on, I'll come, and I'll either give it to you, the 70 that I owe you, or I'll give it to Mario. Mario's in the back. He's talking bad to Frank. Frank is hot. But I could tell, and Frank started to settle in his eyes, and I could tell he already knew he was just hoping that I owed, because that would probably be the only way he gets paid. So I went in, finished dealing with my business, and I ended up meeting Mario later on at the bar down at Fishbones in Detroit. And I gave him like half of it. And I made it messy to all ones and fives, nasty money. But anyway, and he said, listen, I told my brother in the beginning that you didn't owe, because you've never owed. You've always did good business. And since you haven't been dealing with your brother, because he sent your brothers a few other things and it didn't go well, or whatever the case may be.
So you meet Chewy. How does this relationship build with Chewy?
The thing with Chewy ended up going south, because Chewy came up and he wanted to go down to Vegas to a fight or whatever. But how he ended up coming up, because they sent the load up to Chicago and the people got busted there. So he came up, but he asked B, could I help him out? He wanted to redirect the semi to me. The semi had maybe like 15 tons on it, some crazy numbers on it.
Wow.
So he needed me to unload the truck, warehouse it for him, until another truck came.
Right.
And I could keep what I wanted to keep or whatever and put the rest on the truck. So I lined everything up, got everything ready, got my team ready, handed out phones and all to communicate on, and we're ready to go. What ended up happening is he came up, he's ready, but then he told me, he said, well, you know, I don't need you anymore, because we redirected, and I guess the guys that got, I guess a fraction of their team got busted, but they didn't get busted, which sounded weird to me. Okay, and then I found out that he had one of his buddies come up that just got out of prison in California, and he came up to drive a pickup truck back. I'm like, wait a minute, this don't sound right. But anyway, the police got on to us up here. As I'm waiting for this to go on, I get pulled over or whatever the case may be. But as they're leaving the hotel, getting ready to drive back, they're about to fly back, have his buddy ride back in the actual vehicle. They get pulled over. Police dropped the gas tank and found, I think, like $3 or $4 million.
Oh, that hurts.
So my understanding, they were set up from out of Chicago. So they should have let the load come to me, but they went ahead and sent it. That truck got popped, and the money got popped. Okay, they took his guy just literally got out of prison, state prison, so he's jammed up. They pulled them over in a cab, but they ended up letting them go. So I called B in the process, because I had just been pulled up the road. And he said, why are you calling me? Why are you calling me? I'm like, you mean I just got pulled over? And then that's when he told me what happened. But what he did, what he was going to do anyway, he had already started getting weed from Chewy. So with getting the weed from Chewy, he was going to Chewy over, because he knew Chewy wanted to get to me. So that's the play he was going to put down. That's what the girl told me, baby doll. Okay, but Orlando had slipped me his number when he warned me about B the time before, but I just kept the number, never called him. I put a call into Orlando. Orlando came up to see me. And I started dealing with the Tijuana Cartel again. But at that time, Orlando decided he wanted to be done with the business. And he gave me to Danny. Danny left Tijuana and went back to Juarez.
Okay.
And this is where it starts to get real at.
Okay. Who is Danny?
Danny is the guy that I met when I said they were taking me around to the mariachi bands and all that. He was best friends with Orlando.
Okay.
And Orlando was a direct connection to the Tijuana Cartel.
Got it. And they're the ones, and the growers are Chewy and...
Exactly.
And probably a conglomeration of different people.
Right.
And the Tijuana Cartel is the one that's moving it.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Right. So when he goes to, now he's in Juarez.
Now he's in Juarez.
And how does, take it away. How does this change things?
Okay. He's in Juarez, and I'm trying to get him to get me weed. So he would bring me back and forth to meet with different people. All the weed was horrible, because I didn't want to deal with weed. So I ended up not dealing with nothing for like over a year and a half, because I had plenty of money. I bought like 70, 80 houses in the city of Detroit and all that. So I'm doing that. Wow. You know. And
so you're a slumlord now.
Well, actually, yeah, probably. Well, no, yeah, I probably was.
So snapping up cheap houses. And
yeah, I'm buying them up, and I just had teams where I had a lot of money, so I'm just and I was basically flipping the houses, selling them, and all of that. That's going good. Then the housing market starts to crash.
Right.
Okay, Danny's still in contact with me, Then I started listening to more conversations about the white. So I'm like, well, I'll try it. So I come over. He takes me to meet some guys.
You're down in Juarez?
Yep, I go down to Juarez.
And it's been, what, 20 years since you with white?
It's been a long time since I was with white. It's been a long time. And I think at this point, we're like at 05, 06.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. So I go down and I'm meeting with different people that he's hooking me up with. I meet up with a guy named Tano. Tano was very influential down there, but me and him never actually ended up doing any business. But I think he was a politician actually. But anyway, he took me to this one group and we're in the van and, you know, he's talking and we're all this, that, and other. And then he says to me and one of my guys, he's like, hey, this guy thinks that you guys are DEA. My guy next to me, eyes got bigger than silver dollars.
Right.
So I started laughing and smacking my leg like it was hilarious. And I had to smack this, like, start laughing. Motherfucker, we about to be dead.
Right.
And so as he telling me, I'm laughing, I get my guy to laugh, and he's driving, he's looking back, looking at her and trying to see our responses. And so anyway, we end up going to this one particular house. Yeah. We end up going to
You got to put your best fake laugh on when they ask you if you're DEA.
But you know,
Juarez.
But what he ended up telling him, like, do you even know what the DEA look like, do you?
Yeah.
But he made a reference to, you know, he used to see the black guys with the chains and he had never seen black people before.
Right.
So he going by the rap video with Daddy Yankee and
right.
you know that. So
right.
we got polo shirts on and I'm like, we can't come across the border like that.
Right, right.
You know, because he don't know. So anyway, we get over to their house and he cut a triangle in the brick. And he sniff a line and Danny sniff a line and give it to me. I'm like, he handed it to my other guy. My guy like, so now he just know we DEA now.
Right.
So it's like a quagmire. He looking at that, looking at us, right? And I'm like, man, I'm not sniffing that. And so he starts to get upset, but there's an older guy there that's just looking. So Danny thinking quick. He say, listen, man, do you want to do business or you want to get high? What do you want to do? And then the old guy chimed in and started yelling at him.
Yeah.
And then he got back on the business. He said, we're trying to do business. You want to get fucking high.
Yeah.
You know, so that got us out of that. So anyway, so we cut a deal. And we got back to the city.
What are the details?
The details, they were going to start sending us something small, like about 10 bricks at a time. And what they were doing, they were buying vehicles from over here. And they were taking them back when these car haulers.
Right.
And what they were doing, they were cutting the bricks in half and number them. And they was loading them into the things that the car haulers go on. And then when they get over, they pull it out and they give it to us.
Okay. So they buy cars from the U.S., bring them to Mexico, load them up.
And well, what they would do, I guess, is a big market over there for used cars.
Right.
Because nobody can really afford new cars.
Right.
So they bring that over and they were paying taxes, regular business.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But when they came back to come back and get a new set of cars, the whole thing was loaded up with cocaine, but it wasn't about 10 at the time. So what they did to have us make it easier for them, we started hitting the police auctions and started buying a bunch of cars, and they would come over, give us the dope, load up the cars, and go back.
Right.
So we were doing they would come back like 2 to 3 times a week. So we're doing like 20 or 30 a week. But it got to the point that I didn't know how good would translate over. But these guys that were selling all this weed, I guess they dealt with cocaine too. So as soon as they got there, the money was there. So I'm sending that back.
How much are you paying on a kilo at this point?
Did it start like 17 maybe or something like that?
Yeah.
And then they started bringing up like 25 at a time. And I got them to drop down to 16.
Okay. And that's in 2005, 2006? That's a good price.
Oh, that's a hell of a number.
So then what are you turning around? What are you offloading that for?
I'm giving it to my guys, I think, let me see, 16. I think I was like, there's a couple of thousand on it, 2,000-3,000 on it. Right. They'll take it. Because I think at that time, keys are going for like 24, 25 or something like that.
So you're undercutting the hood price by 5 Gs.
I'm murdering them. I'm giving them California prices damn near.
Wow.
I'm killing them.
Wow.
And it's jumping back. They're not losing nothing.
Right. So these are crack dealers. They're cooking your powder up?
My guys are not.
Okay.
Because they're taking it and they're putting their foot on it.
Right.
to give it to the way they couldn't do it or do as much before.
Right.
Because they were getting, like, the coke I'm bringing in, they're taking 4.5, sometimes 9 O's out of it.
Right.
Putting the flim flam and putting it back together, and guys are still happy over it because, because that's how good it was.
It's so damn good.
Exactly. So this starts to moving. These guys are happy, and then they tried to jump Danny. And I'm not going to let them jump Danny.
Okay.
Because they tried to make me an offer I wouldn't take it and all that.
What was their offer?
Their offer was like, a load came in, and the one, they send guys up, because I had a bunch of houses. So I had a house that they could come to and bring the work to.
Right.
And then they come to another house, get the cars, and go back. So they'll just come and spend the night going back.
Right.
So I put beds, not beds, because they wouldn't let me buy beds. They said buy them sleeping bags, beans, tortillas, and a hot plate.
We don't want them being too comfortable. Don't you dare
listen,
buy them beds.
That's what he said. He said, listen, my friend, don't do it. They're not going to come back.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He said buy them beans, tortillas, maybe some cereal, and evaporated milk, and a hot plate. That's it. No more, and get them sleeping. I'm like, I'm going to get them a pillow. He said, no, don't get them a pillow. He said, they're not going to come back. No pillow.
Think about how Mexicans think. It's kind of logical, though. They're like, oh, my God, in America, they have pillows and beds.
Yeah.
I'm going to run off and stay here illegally.
Exactly.
Wow.
And he got upset. We said, they're not going to come back.
Instead of just maybe paying them a little more.
Yeah.
You would never do that.
Not that. Hell no.
Wow. Okay, so I think I finally understand. Danny is your broker, more or less, but out of loyalty. But once you bring the distributor, to the Connect, these old guys in Juarez, there's nothing he could really do short of killing you or killing that guy to stop you from going around him.
True. Exactly. I'm at that point there where, and it does. It takes the off. It takes off.
Your blow. This whole process.
I mean, my value.
Yeah, your value.
Yeah, my value is ready to peak. They see it, so they want him out the way. But what he does, he pulls a Kansas City switch on them and do what he know that they're about to do, which I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
So, the load came in, but the main guy that was over the guys, because they had got to fighting over there, we had to stop all that. So they sent the main guy up to handle them there. He wanted to meet with me. I'm like, what do you need to meet with me for? But he's pressing Sam that he wants to meet with me. So, okay. I come down and I come meet with him. He comes over to the house. Hey, my friend, how are you doing? All this friendly, but I know what he's trying to get to. I have an idea, but I'm not sure. He said, listen, my friend, I don't know. Do you know that really, you were paying like 17 for this, right, my friend? But we only get 16. We only get 16. I'm like, okay. No, I don't think you understand, my friend. Your friend he's really not your friend. Okay, explain. Well, I mean, tell me, what do you mean? He's making a 1,000 from you off for each one of those, and we will give it to you for 19, but your friend won't let us. So I see what he's doing. I'm like, what does that have to do with me? So, I mean, you're a very good friend. Are you okay with your friend just taking 1,000 from you on each one? I said, that's not my business. My business is what we agreed to, all that. So anyway, I turned his deal down, right?
He was trying to give them to you for how much?
They were giving them to Danny for 16.
Yeah, and he was giving to you for 17.
17.
So what would your price have dropped down to?
It would have only dropped down to 16.
Right, okay.
But I know it was probably a little bit cheaper because he was putting his ass. He said he tripped up in there and said something just for the sake of just trying to move it along. Anyway, but I turned him down. And I called Danny and I told Danny. He said, okay, well, what do you want to do? Because me and Danny were like partners.
Yeah.
And what do you want to do? I said, listen, I'm not going to jump you. You're my guy. He said, okay. All right. He said, but just nothing's going to change. Everything's going to be okay, da-da-da. So he went back to them and he told them he knew what they did. So that's when they had to come clean, seeing I wouldn't go. And that's when I found out about the buying a contract thing. Mm-hmm. They gave him like about maybe 300,000 or something like that. And so what he did, he called me back and told me. He said, listen, these guys are going to pay me. I'm not going to be talking to you, but keep this number. right?
Right.
He said, I'll contact you, right? So his brother was up here. His brother went back. He took the money. They sent another guy up and replaced the one guy to handle it, had him sitting up here. I'm talking back and forth. So I squeeze them now and say, no, I want you to give it to me for $15,500. They agreed. But what I didn't know, they was about to start the bullet. They start cutting the work.
I see.
Start messing over it. So my guys are complaining and all of this. So Danny calls me. He's like, listen, I need you to come down. I'm like, are you sure, man? He said, listen, I need you to come down because at this point, I'm not only working here, I'm working in Baltimore as well.
Okay.
But I'm working in Baltimore with Danny, with somebody else. I don't know who the somebody else is, though.
So what are you doing? Are you just sending some of the load to this
No.
guy in Baltimore? How
No.
are you getting it off in Baltimore?
I got relatives up there.
Okay.
Okay. And then I met other people up there that could move it.
Okay.
So me and Danny was not only working here in Detroit, we were working in Baltimore.
Okay. How many keys are you moving a week? 50?
Up in Baltimore, it started with like 20, 25 at a time, but it's through somebody else. And because what me and Danny was doing was working with this team, but I would put money together with Danny, and that's what we was working in Baltimore with our own money. So he had a separate group, or so I thought. Sending it up, we working over here. So anyway, I want to get rid of these guys. They're full of shit. So he calls me down. I go down. But I'm noticing when he picked me up, he got the curtains down in the van and all. I'm like, he acting nervous. What the hell is wrong with you, man? What's going on? He said, no, I have to be careful and I have to be careful. And then he told me, I called you down here to give you my new number. He said, these guys gave me $300,000 for you. He had a young guy there with him. And the young guy like, what the f is wrong with you, Danny? You know they're going to kill you. I said, man, I told Danny I feel bad for you. He said, don't feel bad for me. Feel bad for them. And I'm not knowing what he's saying. He told the guy something in Spanish, and the guy was like, you're crazy in English, right? So anyway, what ends up happening, he had set up another meeting for me. And this meeting was with Mario Nunez Mesa.
Who was?
The cousin of the Carrello brothers.
And they are?
They ran. That's who runs the Juarez Cartel.
Wow. The bosses.
Exactly. So he had been working on his meeting for a while. I didn't know it. So anyway, he's like, be patient. I got a really big meeting. So we thinking the meeting was not going to happen. We have to get back across because we got to catch the plane. So
can I ask you something really quick?
Go ahead.
You know, all this back and forth, jumping across the border. How does a guy like Danny or you, how do you do that and not get flagged by customs for you know what I mean? Like that's got to paint a target on you if somebody's going back and forth so much across the border.
You would think,
it not?
You would think, right?
Yeah. Does Danny have American citizenship?
No. No, he doesn't. His brother has American citizenship.
And do you guys enter mostly on land, or do you take private planes?
Danny never comes across. I'm the one going back and forth across.
So Danny actually does all this while he's in Mexico.
While he's in Mexico.
Okay. And just coordinates it through the phone.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Exactly. As I go on, it kind of makes sense. But anyway, it's always a long ass line across.
Yeah.
So we're in a cab and we're waiting. The next thing I know, come beating on the damn window in the cab. We look, it's Danny. Come on, get out, come with me, get out. We're like, what the f***'s going on? This guy's ready, come on. And he's running, he's in between the cars, running back down to him. So we got to pull our suitcases out and we running in between these damn cars down this damn bridge, pulling out suitcases. And he didn't stop in the middle of the street with the doors open. We jump in with him.
Oh my God.
And he speeds off. He goes into the Burger King, pulls there, and he's sweating. And he's freaking out. And he kind of making me nervous. I'm like, what's going on? Nothing's wrong, my friend. Nothing's wrong. He's looking around. Next thing I know, these big ass trucks just speed up in the damn the Burger King parking lot. And I'm like, whoa, what the f is this? He said, come on, my friend, we gotta go. And he gets out, slams the door, and runs toward the truck. So I get out, I'm coming. And then I look back for my guy, Big Eye. He ain't got out the damn vehicle. I'm like, man, come on. He's like, man, I'm not going. I'm like, man, come on. So I had to go back, snatch him out the car.
Yeah.
We go back toward the car. The big truck we're getting in. Danny gets in the front seat. They putting us in the back. But he noticing as he get in, the door is super heavy. So I'm much smaller than him. I get in. So we get in. It's a guy sitting in between us. 2 guys in the front. Danny sitting in the middle. But they got like shotguns mounted in the middle.
Wow.
Automatic weapons mounted on the roof. And it's like, what the? So we pulling off. They tell Danny something to tell us. And what Danny said, sorry, my friends. These guys needed you to put these bags over your head.
Like the movies.
I'm like, we here.
You're going
to put it on.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving them problems. I mean, put the bag. We in here now. Ain't nothing you could. So we put the bag over his head. So, okay. And one other thing, my friends, I need you to lead your head forward. He grabbed the back of our heads and leaned our heads forward on the. I'm like, this start crying. And he mumbling and like that. So they drive, and all I'm hearing is choop, choop, choop. The chirp's going on. Well, you look like what you.
Well, don't you understand? You're going to meet the Connect. You're not getting kidnapped. Doesn't Danny communicate this?
No.
How stupid are people in this business?
No,
I mean, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, but he didn't tell us nothing. We don't know.
Right.
But I trust him because we didn't did enough that I got an idea. But this guy don't know. He think we about to get whacked.
Yeah.
So the chirping's going on. Then the phones go silent. And then he's making so much noise. They start talking. And then they say, what's wrong with your friend? And I said, he's praying. They're like, oh, you heard such things. I said, oh. Yeah. They kept driving. And so then the phone started going off again. It was like some type of Morse code because they wasn't saying nothing.
Right.
And then I know we got into a neighborhood because we started going over speed bumps. Mm-hmm. And then the phone started going off more. And we pulled in somewhere like a garage or something. The doors fly open. They snatch the bags off. Go this way. Everybody yelling. So I'm like, what the? So we going in. We step out. It's like 2 or 3 steps there. Go this way. Everybody yelling. There's guys in the hallways with automatic weapons and all this shit, right? So we go in. And then they're like, you sit here. So they pointed for me to sit over to the right on this one couch. Pointed for I to sit over in this other single chair. Uh-huh. And Danny went and sat on a couch next to this mysterious man sitting in the corner with the lights down. And then his guys back over here behind us, everybody with weapons. There's another guy that I'll call Ballhead later that's standing there. He's going to translate for the chief. The chief is Mario Nunez Mesa. Danny's going to translate for me.
Right.
So the conversation starts. Okay, well, I'm here. What's going on? Danny starts to talk. And then he just starts to disregard Danny. He's sitting in the corner over here. Danny's sitting. I mean, if that damn arm on that couch wasn't there, Danny would keep scooting over because it got to the point where Danny started moving around the arm and on that little small part of the couch, moving away from the chief. So the chief's sitting there, but the chief got a nickel-plated .45 sitting right in his lap. I can't really see him that good. So we started to talk. And he said, okay, well, what can I do for you? I started telling him what I was interested in. And he just totally stopped talking to Danny.
What did you tell him?
I told him that I needed volume.
Uh-huh.
He asked me what was I doing. I told him I was doing anywhere between 75 to 100 keys a week.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay. He's like, are you working with somebody else? I said, yes. He said, okay. What are you paying? And I told him I was paying 16. He was like, okay. And then this guy over here.
And that's a lie. Because you were paying 17 with the point from Danny.
Whose side are you on, Johnny?
Yeah, the truth. I'm on the Lord's side.
Yeah, I know that's right. I'm trying to work my hand here.
Yeah, I love it. I love the balls.
So the guy in the back here starts to yell, saying something to the chief, right? Because he's the one translating as well. Mm-hmm. So Danny translates for me. He translates for the chief. So the chief says, okay, well, what if I sent you 150 a week? I said, oh, okay. I said, but you probably will try to be sending, I said, you would probably want to send me that much so I can't work with these other guys. Then I see the darkness start to light up, see his teeth. Somebody turned the light up. He linked up, gave a dirty look, grabbed something and turned the light back down and leaned back into the darkness again.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I still want to continue to work with them. but I can still handle that with you as well. He's like, okay, well, what if I send you 200 a week? I said, okay, well, at what price? He said 17. I said, no, 17 is too high. This guy's having a conniption fit over here. He's having a fit because he's going to make something out of it. So we're going back and forth. We're going back and forth over the prices, and we eventually settled at 16. He's jumping up and down. He's mad. And then he starts to discuss the logistics with him.
Right.
Well, I can only, because he's would handle it, getting it up there. I can only bring it to Ohio. I'm like, I can't. I have no way to get it from Ohio. Well, I'm sorry, my friend. You have to you're in the big league now. You basically have to grow up and all this, But Chief is there listening. I'm going back and forth with him. And then I stopped talking to him and I started talking to Chief.
Yeah.
I say, please, I guarantee you, if you get this to me, I'll be able to move all of it. You're not going to have no problems. And he's having a conniption fit. And Danny's translating for me now to the Chief.
Right.
The Chief is listening. He turns the light up. He said, we'll get it to you. This mother is hot.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you one part. As we're negotiating, he's coming down on the price. And I did some old creepy. I was like, I did some like this. I say, so you starting to make me feel like I'm the pretty girl at the dance now. He started laughing. These guys go, they're laughing. They probably said some shit like you should fuck him or something because I'm not knowing how they really are over here. But we come to an agreement, and he said we're gonna get it to you. We're gonna get it. He's gonna get it all the way to you.
So now your price came down. You get more of it. And you don't have to worry about moving any of it. They just deliver it straight to your door.
They're bringing it all to me to stop dealing with the other guys.
Right.
And he asked me, what would I do if they don't want to go away? I gave him an answer, which is not politically correct, but I gave him the answer to that. But he was like, okay. And now what happened, Danny was only asking for 50. The reason why he stopped talking to Danny, because he kept going up on the amount that he's going to send. Danny's scared. Because this guy ends up becoming the butcher of Durango that killed over 350 people in Durango and buried them in mass graves. So he's already a killer. I don't know this.
The Chief.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Danny knows it. So Danny is scared because Danny I can negotiate 50, but you didn't get to 150, not 200. He damn near about to fall off the edge of the couch. But Chief is not talking to him no more at all.
And what are the payment methods that are worked out? What are the payment
agreement
arrangements?
that we worked on was that he would give me 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And
you wouldn't put any cash down?
No.
Wow.
No. And with him, I didn't even have to pay for the driver.
Wow.
Didn't have to pay for nothing. He took care of everything.
Now, so Danny, how does that work? That must put Danny's life in danger because he's a broker that connected you with the first plug, these guys in Juarez, who I don't even know what organization were they working with?
Let me finish up. Come find out, they're working in Juarez, but Juarez owns the plaza.
Right.
So they have to pay to work. So anything they move through there, they have to pay.
Right.
So when we came to the agreement, Danny told Chief his problem with these guys. And Chief said, okay. He told one of his guys to go over to their office and tell them guys that Danny works with him now.
Yeah.
That was the end of that.
What are you going to do about it? I got 300 bodies on me.
Danny ripped him off for $350,000.
Right.
And what can they do?
Wow. Wow.
So that's why Danny told me, don't feel sorry for me. Feel sorry for them. Because they pulled the bull on them and there was nothing they could do.
And this is proof, did that make you see that the connects need you almost as much, or if not more, than you need them?
That helped me see that, and that helped me see that the loyalty was just bull. Because I was supposed to get some of that $350,000. He offered me some, but I didn't take it because going with hood folklore, deal with what's on your desk, stay loyal, don't worry what's on it, and not knowing that that's just business.
Right.
He made that money off of me. I was entitled to some of that money.
Right.
And I told him no. He looked at me crazy, and the guy in the front was like, "What's wrong with you?" So he just made off with that when he made it off of me.
Right. So then now that he's got 350 G's and you've got the new connect, Do you still have to keep paying Danny?
Well, what
now that you're
happened
dealing with the
is
chief?
Danny is in on that.
Okay.
He still gets something off of that price.
Okay.
That's why this guy over here was so upset.
Right.
Because what he would normally get, he doesn't get now.
Right.
And he hearing the volume of work that's going to be moved.
Yeah.
So he's plotting against me. He's hoping I fail and everything.
I see.
You know, but Danny pulls some more bull later on, which we'll get to.
All right. So now you got 200 joints a week at 16,000 a piece.
But this first was a test.
Okay.
So to get it to me, he gave me 3 weeks, right?
Do you know how they're moving it across?
At this time, well, this what he did. He dates. I don't know how they. Well, I know how they did it. It was on a flatbed, and this flatbed that came, they moved like big, like construction tractors on it.
Yeah.
You know, the whatever them things are that move gravel and all that.
Yeah. Backhoes.
Exactly. Now the part that goes to the fifth wheel, somehow they had a compartment in there that they put the keys in.
Wow.
So the first load that came, that's how it came. We had a spot for them to back in, and they started pulling the keys out. I was there. And my guys, the dude pulling the keys out, handed it to my guys, and they counted. I'm on the phone with them over there.
Yeah.
And they're telling me to make sure I count everything, because once I say it's cool, I owe.
Right.
This hands over 198 keys. And then when my guy Sam say, this is not it. No, my friend, it's everything. Hold on, let me look. Start beating the inside. Oh, no, that's it. He said, it's not everything. He said, listen, I'm telling you, my friend, it's everything. And da-da-da-da. So he gets on the chirp and he start, because they used to lying on us. And what scares him is when my phone go off. I'm not saying nothing. My phone go off, then he hear a Mexican voice come across to me. His eyes get big. And he immediately turns back around. Oh, my friend, I found him.
Right. Because he sees you're talking to the connect.
He know I'm talking.
Yeah.
So he gets scared and he goes and pulls him. Oh, no, I found him.
Wow.
And I say, okay, everything's fine.
Yeah.
So we get it. And, man, we did those. We did like 150. And like it wasn't even a week.
Wow. Between how many guys? How many guys are picking up from you?
My rule of thumb is I only have 3 guys with me. And my guys are force multipliers. So they may have a team of whatever.
Right.
But there's only 3 that deal directly with me. So if something, it's easy for me to tell where problems coming from. So what I would do is, okay, my guys, at this point, I'm only giving them, let's say, 25 apiece. You got 25 apiece. Once you finish your 25, you have full access to the rest. So now they busting their ass, moving it. So whoever finishes first have access to the rest of the 125 keys, while these other stuck on the 25.
So you're motivating them to work faster.
Exactly.
Wow.
And so
are they paying cash? Do they have to pay COD with you?
No.
Or you give it to them on the front as well?
You give it to them on the front.
Okay, so these
and
are
I'm
guys.
giving them a good price too. But
these must be guys that you've worked with.
Yeah, that's my
years.
team. Yeah, I know them, and I know they're going to. But see, this is what you learn. When you start dealing with volume, you don't get as many crooks.
Right. No, of course not.
Because these people want somewhere they can spend their money. They don't have to worry about bringing a gun.
Yeah.
And they're going to get good work. They ain't got to worry about, so you don't have that problem.
No.
So when you're dealing with volumes like this, you don't have problems. And my guys, I told them, if you got to deal with anybody where you got to take a gun or they bring it, we don't deal with them.
Right.
At a certain time at night, going back to Marlo, we stop working.
Yep.
And so these are the rules that I put down. So these guys, they happy they can come bring 300,000-400,000 you and they ain't got to worry about being robbed.
Right.
And if they call you and say something wrong, you're going to pick up the phone. You're not going to say, oh man, that's your problem and all that peasant type. You know what I'm saying? So it was never a problem.
It's just high level professional drug dealing.
All day.
I love
all
it.
day. Was no gun toting. It wasn't necessary.
There never is at that level.
No, it's not. It's not. And that's what it'd be hard for people to understand. So I called. They sent the truck up, come pick the money up. But and he told me, listen, from now on, I understand you were a little nervous because it's more, but from now on, you have to complete the ticket.
What does that mean?
Meaning that if I send you 200, you have to pay the full amount for the 200. You can't just pay me 150. No, they're going to still give it to me on front. But when I pay for it, I was only paying him for 150 of them because I'm nervous. I see the way these guys got all these damn guns. I don't want if I I'd rather owe for the 50 Danny was talking about than the 100 and you know what I'm saying. So he told me, but it's fine, it's cool. But from now on, just complete everything.
So
but what happened?
200 bricks. I'm sorry. So that's how many? How much is that? How much cash is that?
Man, listen, I'm the worst when it comes to that. That's Sam always multiplies fast.
So Sam is your partner.
Sam is my partner. When I'm over negotiating, he can calculate fast. He can do all that there. And, you know.
How does the money, how are they moving the money back to Mexico?
At this time, it was old style, meaning that, you know, bricks of money. Okay, you have your one brick is $1,000 increments, 5,000. And then when you ship it, it has to be in $25,000 bricks. Right. So you take the five of the $5,000 bricks, you wrap it in tape or whatever, and you know what I'm saying, you send it like that. That's how it's going at that time. Right. But it changes a couple of times. And it changes again when I get to Sinaloa because it started going directly to a bank at that point.
Okay. But for now, okay, and that's $3.2 million. That's the re-up money. Yeah. So are they sending it back in passenger cars, or are they also putting it in heavy machinery like they sent the work up?
Yeah. Here's the thing. When the drugs are coming in, once they come up off the freeway, I'm responsible. So when it's in the truck being delivered to me, when it come off the freeway, I'm responsible until he gets back on the freeway. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the money. When they come to get the money, wherever they come, because they're coming where I tell them to come, I'm responsible. So that money has to get into the truck. Money has to get into the truck, and we have to make sure he get down on the freeway without no issue. Mm-hmm. Once he gets on the freeway, it's no longer my responsibility.
Is it a semi-truck?
It's a semi-truck.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry about that. It's a semi-truck. And it's pretty much the same thing. The fifth wheel, they put it in the money in there like that. Now, sometimes the driver adjusts because it's like, I think a big suitcase would hold like 1.2 million, a big suitcase. Mm-hmm. And your smaller suitcase, like your carry-on, if it's large, you probably put about like 500,000 in there if it's all large. Yeah. So we'll give him like 3 suitcases and it'll be heavy. So a lot of time he'll just put it on the inside. And when he get wherever he's going to go, he'll put it wherever it's going to go.
Right. He's already got that figured out.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about your operation really quick in Detroit. How are you keeping yourself safe? Like, this is a huge level of responsibility, 200 keys. So you've got Sam. Do you have are you using all the real estate that you were buying from your weed money as like the stashes, or how are you operating security?
At this point, I stayed away from my real estate because the real estate is in my company name and anything of it is easy. So what I started to do, in Detroit, we use women a lot. I mean, sure. You know,
those are some down ass bitches.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Sorry, queens.
Take care of their bills, make sure they riding good, and they get a house for you, and they don't come back no more.
Right.
You know, and they mind their own business type thing.
Right.
So, but in most cases, let's say when the bricks come in, that my thing switched to where everybody got like 50 as it started to come in. You get 50. Let's say 200 come in at this point. You get 50, there's only 50 left. Right. 3 guys get 50, there's only 50 left. So there's nothing left.
Right.
You have the majority of it that's out there.
Right.
So, and then it got to the point that guys started to save their money because we're giving them really good prices.
Right.
They wouldn't work if we wasn't working.
Right.
Because then when they get it, then you got like 2 or 3 days before it even hit the street. Because they're gonna get it. They got the recompressors. They're gonna take stuff out, recompress, rewrap, put the fake balloons on it and all. Everybody think they're getting it. Man, I got them for you fresh out the water. Wow. Some shit like that.
Wow, that was the trick?
It was a trick.
Wow.
It was a trick.
So your guys were breaking them. Say you give a guy on one of your guys 50 keys. He's compressing and stretching that to.
My guys could not touch nothing.
Okay.
The way you got it is the way it went out. Wow. That's why they love me. So, and I told my guys, just follow the formula.
Yeah. Because
you're making 1,000, 2,000
just handing it off
within a matter of hours.
Right. So don't get greedy. This is the best product at the lowest price. There's no need to step on it.
There's no need to touch it.
Right.
Put it out there in the street because I need those guys out there to get money.
Yeah.
Why I need them to get money? Because they're going to start flashing. They're going to ride the cars. They're going to have the big chains on. And guess what? It gives it's just unfortunate, but it's business. It gives the DEA and all them plenty to investigate.
Right.
And not investigating us.
That's right.
Because the work is out, 2 or 3 window. We're done. It's paid for. We probably went over to Baltimore, down that line, and we're out the way.
Right. And your guys, your 3 guys in Detroit, they must have out-of-towners coming in. They must have people coming from...
What starts to happen when you have that type of volume and those prices, you eventually get people coming in. Because what happens to me as I started to move on, people in Chicago started to call down to Mexico saying that there's somebody in Detroit, that has the work a lot cheaper than us. And our people are starting to go to them and they have the same stuff.
Wow. So at this time, it would have been the Flores twins were the biggest dope dealers out of Chicago.
When that started to happen, the Flores twins, I believe, were gone. So I don't know, I think they turned themselves in or they got brought in like 08.
Okay.
Or somewhere in there.
Okay.
And at that time.
Meech is gone too.
Yeah, Meech is gone.
So you're it kind of.
Yeah.
You're kind of the man.
It's an open market for me. Now, in Chicago, they still had some heavy hitters up there. It's just they wasn't getting the numbers that I was getting. I understand. I haven't went to Sinaloa yet.
Right.
Well, my chief hasn't went to Sinaloa yet.
Okay.
We're still with Juarez.
Right.
So when I get the complaints that's going over there, I'm tapped in now. Everything that happens, I hear about. That's how I heard about that. Because the guys now, if somebody coming to Michigan getting the bricks cheaper than them, and Chicago's a hub, but it's a different stamp on it, or as they say, a different T-shirt, they're not going to say too much. But what started happening, the reason why they complained, because they were coming in Detroit, coming back with the same bricks that they had on the same stamp on the T-shirt.
Right.
They're like, how these guys, if we're the main hub and we're taking care of all the states around, how the hell is all our people going to Detroit getting cheaper work there? And it's the same.
And why is that? Because you can move it faster.
Well,
that's just how it goes.
What I figured out that, and they remember I told you about the middleman playing the game,
right?
Holding the work. Oh, it's too high. It's too.
They had middleman.
And they started using me as a pace car to keep them honest.
Oh, like, hey, he's getting him for 16, so we should get him for 16.
Yeah. Well, what they would do, like I said, just to make sure I understand what you're saying, they may get it at a higher price, or they may get it at the same price, but they're selling it way more. And it's causing it to move at a certain pace, but I'm tearing ass. I'm shooting the lights out in the gym. So the people are coming over to me. But eventually they started giving me cheaper prices than them because they know I'm going to sell it fast and get them the money back. So what happens with me is all the money I'm turning in is they're using that to pay the politicians.
Right.
These guys are dragging their ass. So what they start doing to them is the same thing that Frank did with the guy that was on the west side. They take the work from them and send it to me.
Wow.
And make them be honest.
So it's like they're offering incentives as well. The cartels are offering their distributors incentives.
Yeah, they basically supplement it.
Right. I'll cut you off if it's moving too slow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's moving slow. Okay, you still got it. Okay, take this over here, and it ends up coming to me.
Wow.
And I move it like that.
Did you ever get the price lower when you were working with Chief?
This is what I found out, that the marijuana basically pays for the transport of the cocaine. That's what the money from the marijuana is used for, because all the farmers grow that. But with the cocaine, you can only go down so low,
right? And
they won't go no lower,
right?
And now, if anybody's going to go lower, beware, because that's just like you going to a baker and saying you're trying to talk him down on baking your wedding cake. He'll agree with you, but you're not gonna you're gonna cut down on the good ingredients,
right? Right.
You know, so you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
But that with the cocaine is more regulated. And what I found out at one point, because this came out of one of their mouths, we can't continue to let cheap cocaine come into the United States. It's too cheap.
Yeah.
So where the would you hear that from?
Where would you hear that from?
What I found out when I got with Sinaloa, that it was a different ball game. It was a totally different ball game.
Okay, so let's talk about how Chief made that switch and brought you over from Juarez to Sinaloa. What year is that? I know you're bad with years. How long had you been working with Juarez and this?
I had been working with Juarez, let's say, for like a year and a half-ish.
Okay, so you at this point you had moved thousands and thousands of keys for him.
I liked working with Juarez better than Sinaloa and Tijuana.
Okay.
Working with Juarez was like calling in airstrikes, literally. Whatever I want, I got.
Wow. So there was never a hold up?
Never a hold up.
Never a load that got intercepted?
Whatever I want, but never a problem. I told him when to come get the money. If I wanted to take a break, I told him hold on a minute. And when it got to Sinaloa, it was different.
So how did? But you ended up with Sinaloa because Chief, as you call him.
I ended up with Sinaloa because the was starting.
Right.
The was starting.
This was the war that Chapo
was about to
making
get ready to
on
start.
Juarez.
And
just for context, just historical context for the viewer, Sinaloa, Chapo specifically, wanted to take over Juarez. They want and they would start attacking the city and cause one of the, the craziest mafia cartel wars in Mexican history.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to do that in Tijuana too. Wild. They tried to make war on two fronts.
And the crazy thing about it, the war that started in Tijuana was because of the chief. And nobody knows this.
Really?
Yeah. Danny called me when it was going on and said they released, and I guess it was a major publication over there in Mexico, released the publication saying, with the chief's picture on the front page saying that he started the war. I was at the meeting over there when they decided to go full-out war. I was there.
What was it about? Why did they decide to go to war?
I mean, you want to go there, directly there, or?
Yeah, I mean.
Well, just a quick backstory. The chief, I went to see the chief one time. We went out to eat, and he just kept staring at me. He had a stare that he would do. Like he was looking through your soul, literally. And we're eating, putting the limes on the live oysters and all this. I don't eat, but I mean, you're in Rome, doing what the Romans do. So I'm chucking these damn things, and he just keeps staring at me. And then he breaks out and say, "You are much more important than you think you are." It comes through translation. So I'm like, okay. Everybody's looking at me now. You are much, much more important than you think you are. While he's staring at me, I says, okay, but I'm thinking I'm feeling awkward here. Promise me. You promise me right now. Right now. He starts to bang on the table. You will never throw me under the bridge. Promise me now. Promise me. I mean, like I had no choice. I will not throw you in a... No. Promise me. Promise me right now. And he's hitting the table hard with his damn finger. You will not throw me under the bridge. Tell me. They translate. And I had to look him directly in his eyes and say, "Chief, I will never throw you under the bridge." And he just stared at me, shook his head. He gave a light smile and started eating again. At this time, me and Ballhead didn't get kind of cool because they didn't get me to cut Danny off. Because Danny tried to pull me from the chief because he got paid by Juarez, but to bring me over to Juarez. And they gave him a position in Juarez. Okay, so...
Sounds like these brokers cause a lot of problems.
Yeah. Yeah, they used the contract to level up.
Yeah.
And he had a big contract. He had somebody that could move a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, but we don't know. We're moving the work. They get leverage from us.
Yeah.
Because he has a good relationship with us. We'll see a Mexican come around. We're dealing with, let's say, somebody we're dealing with, and they'll come out. They act like they're real friendly with you around other Mexicans. You think he's just being cool. No. What he's doing, he's pretending like he has a special relationship with you. And he can be the mediator or the middleman for you. And next thing you know, he's the one that's dealing with them when you had the direct connection.
Right.
Because they don't speak the language.
Right.
So if he seems like he's y'all best buddies, he gets to make money off of you. And you don't know it.
Wow.
So anyway, Danny starts to send me work. 150, 200 keys. How the fuck you send me this, Danny? But Danny starts to call me and talk to me different. When you call and they talking to you different because they got somebody listening. Most likely somebody of power because they're trying to show them that they have influence over you or you listen to them. And 1 week I had work that came from Chief and had work that came from Danny.
400?
Danny only sent me 125. The Chief sent me 200. So like maybe 325 or something like that. But Danny don't have access to do this.
A lot of coke, buddy.
Yeah. But this was moving. This was fucking moving.
325,000
They started sending more than that. They was sending more than that, man. It got crazy. It got real crazy. But let me, so What I did, I pulled some. You have to pay Chief all the money. Remember, I told you that. Hey, Danny, something happened, my friend. I may need to owe you $200,000. Oh, don't worry about it, my friend. It's okay. Okay, Chief don't know nothing about this. Who the are you working with?
Danny switched.
Danny switched, and he's about to kill him. I'm like, damn. But Danny's talking to me more aggressive now, and like he's a jefe.
Right.
And man, you supposed to be partners. Where did it come from? I've been honest with you about everything, but you, you know? So anyway, one time he called me, and he's talking to me real aggressive, but in a tone I know it's somebody else listening. And I find out it's one of the Carello brothers he was sitting with while he was talking to me.
Okay, who are the Carello brothers?
The Carello brothers that's who the Juarez Cartel belongs to.
Right. Okay, so Chief is actually just a high up boss within the Carello's organization.
This is what they told me through Danny.
Okay.
Because one of the brothers was sitting there with Danny.
Okay.
And I forgot what I said to them because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Because I told Danny, that's how I knew somebody else was there with Danny. I told Danny, I'm like, well, the Chief just sent me. Danny he didn't let go of the button. And I heard him saying it to somebody and they respond to him. And I found out later that's one of the Carello. Oh, don't worry. That's cool because that's their cousin. Chief is their cousin, so don't worry. Now, exactly what position, but he had a position of power. But what Chief did was what Danny did. Chief saying, I got enough power now to level up and go to Sinaloa. And that's what he did. So that was the whole statement of, don't throw me under the bridge.
Meaning what?
I'm going to go to Sinaloa. I found out I'm going to go to Sinaloa. I'm about to cut a deal.
Right.
Because Sinaloa tried to cut him out. And if they cut him out, they're going to kill him and keep me directly.
Yeah. I see. So it turns out that Chief was actually kind of just a broker himself.
Chief was a with a lot of power. And I think a lot of the power he had is, I don't know what he was with the police force, because he was actually still a police officer when he was giving me work.
Yep.
So he had a lot of power in the government. And then when we got took down, he was actually paying a lot of the governors over there.
Right. That's the best position to be in as a drug dealer in Mexico, is with the military.
Yeah.
Or the cops.
So he had a lot of influence, and I think that's a lot of the influence that the Juarez Cartel was through him. Right. So he had a spot maybe right up under the brothers, or just maybe as influential as them, because of the political power that he brought with law enforcement.
Okay, so then why would he switch and go over to Sinaloa?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I can only tell you what I think. Well, I can't tell you the answer to that, because he told me what he wanted to do, because he eventually ended up fighting Chapo.
Okay, so but why did he switch first? Why did he go to Sinaloa? If everything's going great, he controls Juarez.
He wanted to start his own cartel, and he wanted to wipe the Juarez cartel out, and which he did do. And he started he was part of starting that new Jalisco or whatever cartel they got in Juarez now.
Jalisco New Generation?
Yeah.
But that's Mencho's cartel.
He was part of what started that.
Wow.
Now, he got took down, but
well, look, the Meyer is not as important as your relationship to all this, but it's pretty crazy that you're a fly on the wall of all of this Mexican cartel politics when you're just a coke dealer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he said, don't throw me under the bridge, he was saying, basically come with me. When I make this move, stay loyal to me and keep moving my product.
Because they're going to cut into you, which they did, to undercut me. Because it got to a point where Chief's life was in danger. Because they were trying to get me bad.
What do you mean? They were
trying to get me to switch allegiance over to. This was after he switched to Sinaloa.
Okay.
Sinaloa tried to get me to switch directly over to them. Chapo tried to take me from him. And then they were going to kill him.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's move up to that right now. Okay. So does he leave Juarez, Chief, when he decides to flip and go to Sinaloa? Does he actually physically move?
Let me give you this, and then I'm going to take you directly into that.
Okay.
At this point, all of my bricks got crowns on them.
Okay.
That's the stamp. That's from Juarez.
Right.
And then I get a load of bricks with crowns on them. But then my guys are coming back to me like, man, what the fuck's going on? Somebody is mimicking our bricks. Somebody got the stamp made or something. They put the crown stamp in there, man, because these bricks is everywhere. I'm like, nah, that don't make sense. He's like, listen, man, we telling you, they everywhere. Our normal people say, what the fuck is y'all doing? Because we didn't bought already. Somebody in town got the same bricks, so we thinking somebody then copied the stamp and do, because guys couldn't sell nothing until we were done. I used to have to purposely be out to let guys sell some of their stuff so we didn't have to start no war. Okay? So I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out. I can't figure it out. So I called down there because they used to me moving at a certain pace. And if you don't move at that pace, they think you double dipping and dealing with somebody else and not moving their stuff, then that's when they want to kill you.
Right.
So I got to call it in. Listen, man, somebody up here duplicating our stamp. I don't know who it is. I'm trying to find it out. I haven't moved as much as I normally move, blah, blah, blah. Okay, don't worry. Hold on, my friend. We're going to see what's going on. They call me back. My friend, don't worry. Don't worry. What you mean, don't worry? I can't, and I got to get rid of it. No, my friend, don't worry. The chief said it's okay. Don't worry. No. What the you mean? Because this, I know now the power I get. So I'm pushing around. No, you mean? Tell me something. You know, I'm a big fella around here.
Yeah.
So, no. It's the same factory. It's the same. Huh? The same factory? So it ain't nobody duplicate, just you. I go, hey, the you doing sending some bull up here and the whole market up. I built market and you. No, my friend, calm down. It's okay. It's the same factory. How the be the same factory? Phone go quiet. I'm still cussing it. The phone opens back up with the two-way. And I hear the chief speaking Spanish. Don't know what he's saying, but I know his voice. Then a voice come in. The chief says, why does it matter what he do? He didn't do it to you. I knew to shut the fuck up. Don't worry. When you're done, send the money. Shut the fuck up.
I don't get it.
The thing was,
They found a new distributor?
The next load that came was all Ferraris. It was all from Sinaloa. They switched over, but he was killing the market. He was destroying the market where Juarez couldn't come back with bricks no more, with the crown.
Oh, so he was lowering the price.
Lowering the price, and he Juarez. Because before, with that stamp, people trusted. They wouldn't even try to cook it or test it or finger it. They just bought it as much as they could buy.
Wow.
Because the monies that I was turning in had different denominations, but it got to the point that all the money I was turning in was all hundreds and fifties. Whenever you get all hundreds and fifties, that's the money that the drug dealers keep. Yeah. But that means these blowing their safes open to get all they can get, because they knew when they come back, it would be gone. Wow. So they would try to buy all they could.
Right.
So he wanted to them. I'm gonna put a bunch of bad bricks out there. I'm gonna hit it and the market up so nobody will touch a damn crown again when I switch over to Sinaloa.
And that's how he did it. That's how he basically. But then does he have to run? Don't the Carrillo brothers, his cousins, want to kill him now?
We're gonna get to that part, Jimmy.
Okay, guys, assume we will. I'm just
so I get a call immediately after that saying I need you to come over. Okay, I'll go over. And that's when Ballhead grabbed me. I went to Juarez and he took me to the airport. I don't know what's going on. I've never got on a plane over there.
You're on a private plane now?
No, commercial.
Okay.
And he flies me somewhere in Mexico. I don't know. We made about 2-3 stops. We get there and we go and we meet with Chief. I always ride with Chief. We get in a car with Chief. We start driving again. There's about 5 or 6 cars of security.
Right.
He rides in the middle.
Are you in the city now, or are you out in the country?
We're somewhere in Mexico. We're not in Juarez.
I understand that, but yeah, do you know where? Do you?
I don't know
what
I'm at. I didn't even know I was gonna get on the damn plane. I'm thinking I'm gonna go over to Juarez, and he's somewhere in the area. You get me? Actually, we was at the airport. He asked me for my name. I wouldn't give it to him, and Sam wouldn't give it to him. Like, man, what is you going? They not telling me. He begged me, please, my friend, just So Chief called, say, give me your name. I'm here. I'm waiting on you, cause I'm not being told nothing, Johnny, nothing. So I give him. He buys the damn tickets. We get on the damn plane. I don't know where I'm going. So we get over there with Chief. I get in Chief BMW, and we ride. It's Chief driving, me, and his bald head with us to translate.
Yeah.
And we're gone. You got 5 or 6 cars of security. But we get pulled over. So I'm whispering to the boy, man, what's going on? 'Cause I don't know what's going on. Ain't nobody answering. But actually, it was a Junior in the car, too. Junior was Chief's personal bodyguard. All I see was pulling lightning rods out. We call lightning rods nickel-plated guns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, whoa. So I turn around and start facing forward, like, what the f*** is going on? The state trooper comes up to the car, and he asks for certain information. And then all of a sudden, he just starts freaking out. And like saying he's sorry.
Yeah.
He's sorry.
I didn't.
And then Chief starts smiling, don't worry about it. It's okay. And,
yeah.
Gave him some money. Like, I didn't, basically saying, I didn't know,
yeah,
that it was, I'm sorry. And,
right.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Give him some money and all that.
He's dead. He's dead now. That cop's dead for sure.
But then the cop says some, right? Because at this point, I'm like 310 pounds, right? So I'm in this BMW 5 Series.
Oh, you're a big guy.
Yeah. And so he tells the Chief, but Chief, be careful. That guy next to you, be careful. He might eat you. And they start laughing and I'm like, what'd he say? And Ballhead didn't tell him we pull off. He told Chief to be careful. You might eat him. I'm like, oh, you might. But anyway, we ride like damn near all night.
Yeah.
We get to Mazatlan.
Okay. So you're in Sinaloa.
I don't know.
Mazatlan's in the state of Sinaloa.
Okay.
I hate to be all white boy on you.
Hey, listen here. We getting where we got to get to. However, we need to get there. So, I'm looking at all this damn water and, we go in nice hotels and this thing here. I'm like, okay, this is some cool, So one particular time we pull in because we got into a better hotel. It's like I had a driving area. You go pull up in garage attached to the hotel. So we're standing in the parking garage, and next thing I know, phone start going off. Then I think it was a blue or black Hummer pulls in, and it's Chapo. At this point, some guys grab me and Sam, and they take us up to the room. We took up to the room. We're there. Okay. What ends up happening is later on, Ballhead took us up, but he wouldn't tell us nothing. I don't know who Chapo is at this time. I found out who Chapo was on CNN, but anyway, we're in the room. So Ballhead comes up later, like everything's okay, everything's fine, but I'm like, what the f going on? What was all that? Why? But he's not really answering nothing. Don't worry, my friend, everything's okay. So next morning, we get together, about 20 cars, and we head out. And we get on a road that goes like this for like 4.5 hours or something, and it's called the Devil's Spine.
Yeah.
So they're warning me, if you got to throw up or something, just stick your head out the window. I'm like, why would I have to throw up? But when we start going at fast speed like this and trucks falling over on the mountain, you have cows walking up one side as you, it's crazy, and nobody's telling me nothing. Okay, we get up to the top of the mountain, they pull over to buy some tacos or whatever at this little stand. There's a guy up there with cute hair and all that. A couple of guys take him on the other side of the mountain. Who knows what happens? But anyway, we eat and we load back up again, and we head like another 2 hours or whatever. I think we get to Culiacan.
Is it a city?
It's a city.
Yeah.
And we pull into the hotel, but it's like it's a big hotel. bunch of buildings, but it's like a Fortune 500 convention is going on. You got Sicario standing all outside the gate and all this and all through there. And then we pull all the way to the back, and the Sicarios down on the ground. They're also up on the little thingies that you walk up, the little banisters you walk onto your room and all this. So we go up to the top. And then that's when I get introduced to a guy that I call Black Shirt. So speaks English well. Good. No accent or nothing. So I'm freaking out. I don't really, nobody's answering questions. So we usually always get a room next to the chief. Chief sleeps in his room, but Junior always sleeps with Chief. Okay, so it's another guy come. In the book, I call him the Sinaloa Pimp, but I found out later on he got a lot of power. He starts bringing a bunch of women by. Anyway, and I got to tell this one story, just to tell, then I get on to. So every time we stop, we eating I got tired of man. I was tired. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how they're doing it. So anyway, they keep bringing women, and I keep turning them down. That's not my type, not my type. And so I seen that they weren't going to stop. But what I was doing, because the women over there freak out when they see us, they feel we got a King Kong or whatever. So I got shorts on, no drawers. And they had this one thing they would say, mustache, which is basically mustache. But that's their word for cootie cat. They say mustache. You know what I'm saying? So I started saying that, and then they used to like when I used to go like this, like, they damn near fall out. So I would come out the room trying to run the girls off. I come out yelling, mustache, mustache, as I'm walking. Then I hit my move, and then my joint swing back and forth, and the girls start running.
Nice. Scared them off.
Exactly.
And that's how you got them to not you.
But no, this what ends up happening. The chief started feeling bad, and he offered me his girl in his bed. Just go in there and fuck her. I'm like, okay, I better get somebody. So I chose somebody. We go in the room, and we doing what we do. And the condom broke. So I goes out to open the door to say to y'all guys got a condom. I open the door. There's two guys at the damn door. I'm still naked, and my man was saying, how you doing? Full salute. They walk off. I'm just trying to get a condom. So I look out the damn door, and I look down this way, and these guys are pawed on top of each other. It's a little crack in the curtain. These men were looking through the damn curtain. I said, hey, did either one of y'all got it? They look up, and they damn near fall. They falling all over each other trying to walk away. But that was a crazy story. But anyway, long story short, we left from there the following day, and we went over to this certain place. It was a wall around it, and inside it was like 8 condos. But it was a big steel door. They had to pull back. You pull up in, and Sicario stayed outside. They closed it back. And up at the top, in this one particular apartment, chairs in a circle. We all sat in a circle. And I still say to this day, La Barbie walked in there. And
look that guy up. People at home, if you don't know who he is, they just arrested him a year ago, and then he disappeared. They think he's cooperating now, but he was like a ruthless killer, decapitated people, sold a lot of coke. But he's from Texas, actually. And they call him La Barbie because he's really good looking, and he's white. He's Mexican, but he's got this like orangish hair, and he's like pale like an Irish person. And some heavy dudes started coming in. Had you met Chapo at this point?
I'm about to meet him.
Okay.
Well, actually, I seen him at the hotel, but I didn't know that was him when he got out. But I'm about to meet him. But it's another twist, too. So, actually, that's what we're sitting around waiting for, but I don't know that. So we're there, and there's some heavy dudes coming in, man, sitting in this circle, and we're talking. And then we go downstairs one particular time. We're standing in the, like, parking lot within this wall structure. And it's this guy walks in. He walks in with this beautiful woman. I mean, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. I give my leg and one of your arms to, have, what I do. Anyway. And this dude is staring at me. But I can tell he's alternative lifestyle. But he's staring at me. And I'm dressed Detroit style. I got on a money green linen outfit. I got on some money green Maury Gators.
Oh my God, bro.
You
You're
know.
so Detroit.
And he's looking at me, and I'm telling Sam, like, oh, this guy, why he keep looking at me? You know.
He's sweet.
I say something to Baldhead. Baldhead not paying me no attention. He keep like blowing me off. Then the chief finally asked, what does he keep saying to you tonight? And then he told him that I said, this guy's gay. And he keep looking at me. Everybody in the group started laughing. We're in a little circle. Then the gay guy says, what are y'all laughing at? I swear to God to you. Everybody stopped laughing like that. Whoa. Whoa.
Damn. He said that in English or Spanish?
He said it in Spanish.
Wow.
I don't know what he said, but I know they stopped laughing. They stopped instantly. Now, Chief has a lot of power. Right. I've seen his power. But you stop laughing with this? Okay, something going on. So something ain't right.
You're seeing the pecking order.
I'm starting to...
Chief's not chief when he's around these cats.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm like, wow. So he didn't ask no more and left it as that. So we left, went back again that night to the hotels again, came back the following day. We all went out to Chili's and ate. And I'm like, why? What's going on? You know.
Yeah, why are you eating at a Chili's? You guys make millions of dollars a day.
Yeah.
Why are we eating at a place we could have stayed in Detroit on an 8 Mile and 8 app?
Exactly. But I guess the convention's going on in the city and everybody just eating and
the
just...
Mexican, they love all of the American garbage. Like to them, like they love TGI Fridays. Like to them, that's a status symbol is eating at.
Know. Yeah, I'm like,
a place you wouldn't send your worst enemy to eat at.
Exactly. So we get back. So I'm thinking we about to go back to the hotel. Now listen, I forgot how many keys I got over. They don't never call me over. They make me finish first and then come over. I have keys inside the state. And I'm like, Chief, I got work, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm like, so this ain't making sense. Next thing I know, the phone start going off. Everybody start running. Come on. Put me in the car. We start riding. We get to a farm. We ride into the farm. Everybody get out. Now this black shirt guy, he comes over, start talking to me again. Hey, how you doing? You know, this, that, and other. Are you sure you want to do this? Yeah. What are you talking about? Yeah, you know. Well, no, I'm just saying, my friend, because these are some very powerful people. I said, yeah, no. I said, but my chief is powerful too. He said, oh yeah, he's powerful too. But these are some very powerful people. I'm like, but I'm with Chief. I'm not worried about it. I'm like, and I got tired of him. Like, listen, I'm a big boy. I can handle myself. He said, okay. Well, I have like 3,000 pounds. Can I put it on the truck when you get ready to receive something? He's not supposed to be talking to me like this.
Right.
You know. So I say, I mean, I don't have no problem as long as you clear with the chief. Oh, yeah, of course. Sam tapped me. He say, old boy looking at you again.
The maricon?
So I look over, and he's by a pickup truck sitting on the back of it with the beautiful woman, and he's staring at me again. I'm like, oh, my God.
He likes black guys.
You know, yeah, evidently. And you know, every now and then, you know, you look to see everything, and he's still locked in. I'm feeling creepy. And then Sam said, oh, here he come. And then Sam took off. So he comes up, and black shirt is still sitting there. He said, how you doing, my friend? I said, I'm okay. How are you doing? He said, what's the matter? You don't like Rolex? And I had a Rolex on him, but a Submariner. I said, yeah, I like Rolex. He said, well, what's the matter? And he said, you want a Rolex? I said, no, actually, I already have one. I have the presidential and, oh, okay. And he started to say something. The phone started going off again. Then he ran back over to where he was, and everybody started scrambling. They grabbed me, and they took me under the pavilion. Chapo pulls in.
What's he rolling in? Like, what's he?
They pulled the pavilion they pulled me into, and there's so many people were there.
Right.
I couldn't see.
Wow. It's like he's the president.
That's exactly what it was.
Wow.
And so when he walks in, I say to Sam, look like we're getting an invasion of the Munchkins. because a whole bunch of little short was, you know, and he walks in, he got on flip-flops, he got on like a man bag. So I'm thinking he one of them too, you know,
he's also
alternative.
gay.
Yeah. But he don't have a mustache like what we usually see on a, you know, but he got the hat on and, you know, and he looks at me. He doesn't do nothing. And so, but I don't know who he is. And so then they grab me, they put me under the pavilion. Only ones standing next to me is the chief. And then that's when this old man walks up. And Chapo is standing to the right of him. No, the left of him. Not saying nothing, but this old man was doing the talking. They had big ass things of weed laying out. They cut a triangle in it. And they asked me, how is this weed? I'm like, oh, it's good. I don't know what, you know what I'm saying? Sam ain't no good either at it. And the old man starts to negotiate with me. The old man is old man Mayo.
You just met Mayo Zambada.
Now, I seen Mayo Zambada before this, but didn't know who he was. Because when we first went down in there, who brought the chief over to the scene of law, it was not Chapo. It was the old man.
Right.
And that's how I found out that the old man was really the one with the power and not Chapo. The old man had them open up the Durango Zoo. The Durango Zoo was closed down for renovation. They opened up the Durango Zoo and they let us in. I'm sitting at one end of the zoo. The old man is down at the other. It's like he got all military around him, a total different type of security.
Yeah. And
he had on the big white hat. And Chief was down talking to him, and this was on another trip, just for the sake of, you know. And I believe that was when the agreement was made for the chief to come in, because then that's when all this other crazy stuff started happening. But back to the meeting. He wanted to send me, I think it was between 8 to 10 tons of marijuana a week. The driver that was going to bring it was there. So me and him was negotiating. The chief was standing next to me. I think we negotiated something like $400 or $500 a kilo, which is 2 pounds, and that's like 200. You know what I'm saying? And that's the agreement we came to. He was happy with it, and he said, "You'll have a truck this week." He said, "By the time you make it back, the driver is going to fly in. You're going to show him where he's going to come to. You're going to drop him right back off at the airport. He's going to come back, and he's going to come right back with the weed, and you're going to receive this every week."
All the way to Detroit, they were going to bring it to you.
Yeah.
And there was no mention of cocaine?
That was the interesting part, because I'm going to tell you what happened with that in a minute. So I'm like, well, what happens if I'm not done? And don't worry about it. It's a truck going to come every week. Just put on it what you have, and there's constantly going to be trucks coming. So I'm thinking, like, how the fuck am I going to get rid of this weed? I got to expand. I got to open in other states, and you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking how I'm going to take care of this. So we came to agreement with that, and we left. Chapo didn't say nothing. Standing there listening the whole time. After the agreement was made, he nodded at me. We left. I get in the truck. I get in the BMW with Chief. We're pulling out of the farm. I started shaking. I didn't even know if I knew I was shaking. I started freaking out. I didn't know I was shaking. Chief slammed on the brakes and grabbed my leg and said, "Stop shaking, stop shaking." Bald head is right here in the middle of us. Translate, "Stop shaking, stop shaking it. They're not giving it to you. They're not giving it to you. Just think of it. They're giving it to me, and I'm giving it to you. I'm responsible, not you. Stop shaking, stop shaking. I'm going to support you. I'm going to protect you. Haven't I always protect you?" And I didn't know I was shaking, but I got it at that moment.
So you felt the gravity of what you were undertaking. Finally.
And it hit me so hard. I think if he wouldn't, I probably would have fainted at some shit, literally.
You're just an orphan from Detroit that's supposed to lose.
Yeah.
And you've just shaken hands with the top dog.
And didn't know it, but I felt something wasn't right.
But you knew their power.
Oh my God, I got it. Yeah.
You knew you were with the Kingpin.
Right.
Wow.
So we pulled to the corner.
Now, hang on. I'm sorry for a sec. It seems like you were one of the main reasons that Sinaloa recruited Chief? Because it seems like basically Chief acted as this high-level distributor for Sinaloa, and that's part of like his value to them. Am I wrong?
I found out later the chief's value was, of course, me for the financial end of things.
Right.
So I'm thinking at this time, just looking at the dates, I think the twins were gone.
Yeah.
So they needed somebody to fill that void.
Right.
Okay, I was that. And the political power Chief had in Juarez.
Right.
With the police force and all that. Because later on I found out he was actually making sure the governor of Juarez, Chihuahua, was being paid.
Right.
And all of this.
Right. So
and he was a killing machine.
Right. So that he could work for Sinaloa to help take out these Juarez targets in Chihuahua and in Juarez.
Exactly.
I see. Okay.
But he actually started in Tijuana first. And damn near wiped the majority of them out, which is a whole bunch of stories. And then he went to Juarez last, but he had a thing with him. But I'm about to tell you something.
Okay, look this guy up too, just for at home, just for so they can Google him. We'll try to put an image of him in the episode. What is his chief's full name?
Mario Nunez Mesa.
Mario Nunez Mesa. Got it.
And they also called him Mac 10 because that was his weapon of choice.
How many guys did he have like you in the U.S.? Did he have other Donalds in different regions? I
don't know. I know he had other people, but I don't think he had nobody that was doing what I was doing.
Sure.
Because when they put me in Atlanta, that was their top earner, and they started taking bets literally on who was going to finish first. And I ran him out of the. It got so to the point that nobody would make bets against me no more.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But
all right,
we're there. We're leaving. We pulled to the it's like a corner, I guess, or what would be equivalent to a corner. Everybody went to the gas station, except Sicarios. They set up the perimeter. And I'm sitting there, and I start feeling creepy again. And you know how you feel somebody staring at you? So I look over to the right, and guess who's there? Sweetheart's there.
Boy George.
Staring at me hard. And I'm like, oh, my God. This dude gonna try to rape me or something. I just know it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, I thought he was a Sinaloa pimp, but somebody had already told me what he was. He made all the payments to the federales, to the army, everybody.
Right.
And he was making it somewhat of an indecent proposal to me with the Rolex thing. I guess he was going to try to do me a ditty, take me shopping.
Do I ditty?
So at this point, I know who he is. I'm like, what can I do if he say, ooh, I think you sexy and I want you? I'm in trouble. So I'm freaking out. So I look a couple, and he's still staring. He does not stop staring, but it wasn't a cheap stare. This was a freaky stare, you know? So they get back in the car, we driving. So we about to head back to the Devil's Spine. Chief gets a call. Chief gets a call. And they're saying, we want to party. Come on back, let's party. So the chief say something to me. I'm like, no, hell no.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be fine. I'm like, no, listen, man, I want to get this over because I'm going to get sick and he's saying this to sweetheart. And so listen, don't worry. What we'll do, we'll get somebody to drive your cars back over tonight. And we'll fly y'all back across. And y'all cars will already be sitting there. I'm like, he trying to get to me. He want me bad. You know.
I would have gone straight to Mayo and been like, look, I'm the one moving the work. Listen, kill this man.
He's smoking paying everybody. But I'm begging Chief, listen, don't worry. I know what you think. Don't worry. We're going to make sure you're safe. But I think Chief was told to come back. Yeah. So we went back to the damn place where everybody was sitting at the circle. And I mean, this place, the roof was bouncing on this place. They were partying, sniffing coke and some everything.
Girls were there?
No.
I hope.
No.
Oh, geez.
Was no girls there.
Oh, boy.
You know,
was not even faking it.
There was no girls there. And besides that beautiful one. I mean, so, but you had El Toro, Beltran Lever.
Arturo.
You had him, and one of his other brothers was there. But I found out who they were later.
Was he sniffing coke?
I don't know.
In the show Chapo, they portray him as a major cokehead.
He probably were. I don't know, because it's the thing. When you over there around them bosses, you can't stare at them too long.
Right.
Because it's like, why are you staring? Are you trying to, you know what I'm saying? I've had them say, do you got a bug on the inside of your on your t-shirt, inside of your, you know, so it's a level of paranoia.
Sure.
So you can't just be looking at. You can look, but don't look.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm standing there, black shirt is over, talking to me about drugs again. I didn't see Sweetheart no more. And then Chapo works his way over to me. And black shirt starts to translate for Chapo. So Chapo starts to tell me that he only dealt with one other black guy before. And I can't remember what he said, the 90s or when. He said he dealt with one other black guy before. He said the black guy never cheated him. He said they did real good work, but then he just up and disappeared. He said he didn't owe him no money. He just disappeared, you know. And he said he never seen him. He said that was the only black guy that he worked with. And he said, you're not going to disappear on me, are you? Like that. And I'm like, no, you know. I'm not going to say yes, you know, so no. He said, listen, let me tell you something, my friend. He said, I need you to know this. He said that at the end, this right here, and he did this. He said, must always end up in the hand of a black man.
What?
Keys of cocaine, drugs. The cocaine must always end up in the hand of a black man.
Wow.
That's what he told me. That's what he told me.
What did you think he was trying to tell you? What do you think that meant?
Then I didn't know. You got to realize, I just got through damn near passing out and fainting.
Right.
And I'm trying not to get or have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it meant a whole lot more to me later. What it meant to me and what he was telling me is that you are the most important variable. And if I have a direct link with you, like I had with the other black guy that I worked real good with, we made plenty of money. You know what I'm saying? So he's giving me a history. I have worked with somebody black before, so me and you could work together. And basically saying this guy made a lot of money. He just left, just disappeared. You're going to make a lot of money. And I want you to know that I know at the end, you are the most important variable because you have access to the market.
Yep. He got it. Chapo was the distributor, you know?
Yeah.
Like Mayo might have been the boss. You know, I think really there were three bosses that had their own, you know, little factions within the Sinaloa cartel. It was Arturo Beltran Leyva, Mayo, and Chapo. But Chapo was he was the smuggler. He knew about moving
the routes and how to get it there.
Yeah.
So we left from
so
there.
then he takes his out. Then what?
Thank God that didn't happen because, man, I guess I'd have probably negotiated 2 tons of kilo. I had to get her ass up, at least get a couple tons of coke out of it.
Okay, you can raise the price on me.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
So when we left, because we still ended up leaving and driving the vehicles, because he got me out of there quick. I think he got me out before because the Sinaloa pimp or the one with the real power, that's who brought all the women. So I'm thinking that's what he was probably getting together to come back with. So he got me out of there before that.
Chapo said you're good to go.
No, I mean, Chief got me out of there.
Okay.
I don't know. He might have told Chief that he was good to go. I don't know. But he made sure before that guy, I was gone. So, but on the way back, Chief was talking on the phone. Now, usually whenever me and Chief riding, because the whole time, he was like, what do you think about this guy? And he asked me about what I think about the guy with the backpack on that I think that was LaBarbie. And a lot of the guys he was asking me about ends up being the Beltran Leyva guys. So he just asked me like what type of vibes I'm getting. And as I'm talking to him, he be squinting his eyes, doing like this. But a phone call came in and he wasn't talking no more. He was talking on the phone and I'm trying to get Ballhead to talk and tell me what he talking about, but Ballhead won't say nothing. Ballhead actually sat back, so I couldn't have access to talk to him. So he's talking, but he's talking intense. So anyway, I get back to Detroit. Sam picks the guy from the McNamara Airport, takes him, shows him, and drives him right back to the airport. And I guess he got back on a plane or whatever. And so I'm waiting for this load to come in. I'm getting my guys ready, spending money, setting up other arrangements.
And you think it's 8 tons that's coming to you? 8 tons a week?
Between 8 to 10 tons.
Wow.
But the whole thing about it, it was like, and this would be the thing. Let's say the agreement, you're going to get 2 tons this month. It wouldn't be all on one load. You might get a series of trucks.
Sure.
But it ended up equaling.
Yep.
You know. So exactly how it was going to come, I don't know. A lot of times they hit you when they just so many miles out. That's when I hit Sam, and he makes the arrangements to take care of whatever else. Because at this point, they didn't want me around money and drugs, period.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're the top dog, bro.
Exactly.
Wow.
So what ends up happening, the load never comes. I'm calling Ball here like, wait a minute, this don't seem right. What's going on? Oh, don't worry, the chief is sick. The chief is sick. Okay, the chief is sick, but that got to do with the load. You know, the chief is sick. Stop lying to me. I'm the jefe. Where the load? I can't tell you, my friend. I can't tell you. Just hold on. I'm trying to. So eventually, Chief told him to tell me. The he was talking to was the Carrello brothers. They had agreed to meet up the following day to work out their differences, to settle everything, for him not to switch over Sinaloa. And when he went to meet up with them, they killed damn near all his security, shot his car up, shot him a couple of times in the leg, so he was in the hospital. That's what started your war.
Wow. Did they intentionally leave him alive, or they just missed him?
They were trying to kill him.
Whoa.
He had some he had some hard asses with him.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing they damn near wiped out everybody, but he had some hard asses with him, but then he wasn't no joke himself. And he got a couple of shots in his leg, but he was messed up pretty bad, but he was in the hospital.
Wow. And that's what really kicked it off.
That's what really set it all the way off.
Oh, okay. I'm contemplating maybe ending this and going over to Patreon, because that was one of the craziest stories I've ever heard on this podcast.
I'm gonna send you some of the paperwork over, like with Chapo's name in and all that. In the book, the actual agent name is in the book, and the actual prosecutor's name is in the book. There is a New York Times writer. I don't know how he got this information, but he got a lot of the information on the chief and a lot of the payments that Chief was making to the government over there. At that, are we still?
No, yeah. I want to wrap up.
I don't know if I want to say this on here.
Okay. Well, is it sensitive?
Yeah, there's a lot of sensitive, but this is kind of
okay. Let's talk about. Let's jump forward. How long did you work with Sinaloa before the indictment came down? Because you end up going to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. So let's run through that, and then we'll switch over to the Patreon for more of the details. But just tell us how long you worked before you went away to prison.
I worked with Sinaloa for about 2.5 years, maybe 3.
That's a long run.
Yeah.
How long? And did they start sending you cocaine too, or was it strictly weed from there on in?
I never seen weed again.
Really?
It was all a trick. Because the ultimatum they gave me was, if you want to get weed, you'll take cocaine. And so that's why I started to take cocaine.
Okay.
Because they said they would give me weed. But they never gave me weed. It was to get me to take cocaine. And that's how I found out what the weed was really for.
I see.
And in Durango, the old man runs all the farms in Durango with the weed. It all comes to him.
Okay.
And he's the one that, because, I didn't even tell you about what happened when I rode through Durango and all that. So there's a lot, for the sake of time that I didn't go into.
Okay, so what price are you paying with the Sinaloans?
Sinaloa, that's when I got a chance to see that this is a business and how it runs. I was at 16 and it wasn't going no lower than 16.
Yeah.
You didn't ask. But what started happening when the war started really kicking off, the price started going up. Mm-hmm. And that's when I heard that, hey, cocaine is too cheap and that the price has to go up. I was told what areas would have droughts because I had actually moved some work up to Baltimore. And I found out that it was not supposed to be no work up there. And that I wasn't supposed to send nothing up there.
They told you that?
Yeah.
They told you where you could sell and where you couldn't?
Well, see, that's when I found out. because it was going slow where I was in Atlanta because Chapo beat the hell out of the bricks.
Meaning stepped on them.
Stepped on them.
Wow.
Because they were running out. Most people don't know that Sinaloa almost lost that war. They were not winning.
No.
They were losing bad, and they were running short on money because a lot of the places they were keeping the coke at, guys were switching allegiances and taking the coke with them.
Right.
That's why I became so valuable.
Right.
Because I wasn't switching and going nowhere.
Right.
So he would beat the cocaine up to scratch the price because he still had to make the payments to the government.
Right.
And there's a bunch of weird stuff that went with that. So I had sent some work up to my man in Baltimore because it was slowing down. And this is the work they took from somebody else to give me that I did not want, but I had to take. But I knew he was pressing me because as soon as I got the work, Johnny, Chapo started calling me, give me my money. I want my money. Where's my money? And
Chapo
I didn't even
would call you direct?
No, yes. And threatening me.
Oye, Moreno.
I sent this up to Baltimore. And then that's when he started calling and pressing again. And I could go off on bald head. Well, you telling me one money is on the way back here from Baltimore. And
why did they basically force you to relocate to Atlanta?
I didn't think I was being forced. I thought I was going on a holiday and all that. I didn't even know what they had going on down there because they don't tell you. I had got ran up on by the DEA.
In Detroit?
In Detroit.
What was that over?
Like I said, it's a lot.
Well, it was overall cocaine you were moving, but where do you think the leak came from in your organization?
The chief thought it came from Baldhead.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. It goes.
You
deep.
never know what's real dealing with the cartel.
He thought it was Baldhead. He had Baldhead because Baldhead called me and told me, listen, the chief is calling for me to come across. If I don't come back in a week, don't come down here. Because he made a pact with me just like Danny made a pact with me. If the chief or somebody's going to kill you, I'm going to tell you. But if somebody's going to kill me, you tell me.
Yeah.
I broke that promise with Danny because the chief was going to kill Danny. And Danny in the end, me.
How did they fuck you?
It's a long story.
Give us the you're in Atlanta. What becomes of everybody? Give us that much.
The war got really bad. It got really, really bad. Sinaloa was losing, but Chapo gave, or it might have been old man Mayo, gave Maito, that's what they call Mario Maito. They gave him more power. And he flipped, man. And he just started killing everybody. And it started turning the war around. And what happened is then they started fighting with the Beltran-Leyva brothers.
Right.
And they didn't believe they could beat them. But I think with some help from the government and all that. But so the lows basically came to a stop. So they gave, because I just had to ask for permission to come back home. So they gave me permission to come home. And then I ended up being up here. I never went back down to Atlanta. And then, there's a bunch of things happened when I was up here. Then they eventually started sending work again. There's a bunch of strange stuff happened. Right. But
they were sending work. How many joints were you getting?
At that point, they started sending it up on. They had a group of people that was coming up from Mexico gambling in Detroit. Indian Trail. They had a driver, and he was just bringing me like 50 at a time.
Okay.
And but this was after a nice little layoff. And they were about to start sending trucks. They sent a truck driver up. I showed him the route after a while of these buses coming. But the truck driver never came. They had got me like, I think maybe 101 week with the bus coming back and forth, but they never came to pick the money up. And that was weird. They always come pick the money up. I had that money for like a month and a half. And then you say, listen, my friend, you come get this. I'm not It's not going to be my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you say that, they have to come get it. Because
Right.
then if they don't, it's not my responsibility.
Right. It's mine now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And we're gonna send somebody up. We're gonna send somebody up. Just hold on and all that. Now at this time, Mario and Frank popped back up, but not Frank, Mario. Now Frank has sent weed to my brother. I got rid of it and all this. Frank started talking about Mario started talking about cocaine. We've never had a conversation about cocaine, ever. And when he starts to talk to me, he's talking to me in a way that I know somebody's listening. Hey, my friend, have you ever dealt with the white? Yeah. Oh, okay, my friend. How long did it take you? I'm like, for what? 100. I barely got it out of my mouth. You can't send 100 or nothing without having permission from the top, because nobody wants to be responsible for that.
Right.
And you said 100 out your mouth quick. Somebody's sitting there listening to you. I said, that's nothing, my friend. I do that in a day and a half, 2 days. I knew it. Like I said, Mario was just over the top. I knew it was you. Because I know your family. I know your mother. And we are basically like family. I've been knowing your family for 10 years. And okay, why are you reading your resume out to me? I know, because somebody's listening. And you're trying to be the middle guy, you know? So we started to have a conversation. And we got all the way to the point where, okay, we just waiting for the final call, which is normal. You always get the final call. But then his phones went dead. I had a contact from Danny. Danny was telling me that somebody was coming up to see me on American Airlines, gave me the flight number and everything, the time they were supposed to be there. I was about to go pick them up from the airport. And when they got here, I was supposed to put them up and they were going to tell me what to do with the money. Danny calls me at the last minute and say, oh, the guy's not coming. Hold on, my friend. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't happen, my friend. This never happens. What am I supposed to do with the money? No, the flights were made. I don't know, my friend. No, you know. What happened? What happened? I don't know, my friend. They just called me and said the guy's not coming, so don't go and pick him up. Now, Baldhead had been telling me, and I knew Baldhead was working, but Baldhead had been telling me he was going to come see me. All of a sudden, Baldhead calls, and he's coming now. Baldhead came. The guy that was supposed to come up and tell me what to do with over $1 million never came. Hour from me picking him up from the airport, the flight's canceled, it's over with. The bricks that was supposed to come from this other way for Mario, and the price I told him was a crazy price, never came. Phones went dead. Not off, but just turned off. But this one way comes through, and it's the way that sets me up. And that's what takes me down.
So it was conspiracy, or what was the charge?
It was conspiracy. And how Danny got me back is that Chief told me he was going to kill Danny, because Danny started blocking loads that he couldn't cross once he was with Sinaloa, because Danny got a lot of power in Juarez Cartel.
Right.
So he just told me going to kill Danny. Don't talk to Danny no more. And I almost got killed, which I didn't tell you about that, for still talking to Danny, and he found out. But Danny called me and asked me, is it Chief saying he's going to do something to me? Is he? No. Are you sure, my friend? No, he doesn't. My friend, are you sure? He knew I was lying, but I couldn't, So I made a deal with him. I didn't keep the deal. So now this would have been the time for you to tell me, listen, they setting you up. They're shutting down ends. Something's going to come through to take you out. They're triangulating you.
Why were they? Who set you up? I don't understand. Was it Danny or was it the?
It was either Chapo or the old man.
Why would they want to see you go down? I don't understand.
The chief turned on them and started fighting them and started beating them bad. So they needed to take out his main earner so he couldn't make his payments.
Why did the chief start fighting them?
Because the chief's whole objective was just to knock off the Juarez Cartel and to get his own relationship in Colombia to supply his own cartel.
So then why go after Sinaloa? Why not go after Juarez?
He was using the power and the money of Sinaloa to knock off Juarez because he couldn't do it by himself. So once he basically got them eliminated, he turned around and started fighting them.
Okay, so he went back to Juarez essentially after he
won.
He
did. He knocked off Tijuana.
Wow.
And then he went over to Juarez and raised hell, basically killed up everybody in there. And then he started turning around and started fighting Chapo.
Wow. And did you know this was happening during the war years?
I did not know that was happening, but once I got picked up and I had more privy to more information, that's when I knew the actual details of what was going on. But I know the chief because the chief had already told me the reason why he didn't want me to throw him under the bridge, because the same way that he took me to Chapo and let me cut my deal there, he's going to take me over to Colombia and let me cut my deal there. But the whole thing was I would have to do his work first, then do the. So that's why I didn't never go with Chapo.
Is because you were holding out for the Colombian connect.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
But how are you? I don't know what that would have done, because you still have to move the bricks through Mexico. I don't know how that would have dropped your price.
I mean, I don't know either. But
unless you're sending them through the mail, or I don't know.
Well, with Colombia, from my understanding, they'll give you so much work, and then out of that, they'll actually also pay you out of that work because you're going to be distributing for them.
Right.
So there was already, because they was using me like that in Atlanta. They was giving me work, and I had to hand it to other people. And
Colombians?
No. Just with Sinaloa.
Okay.
And I was arguing with Chief, which I never did. Like, I don't want to do that. He kept saying, I'm doing something for you. I'm doing something. You don't see it. I'm doing something for you. I'm doing something for you. So what he was doing was giving me experience with holding that work like that and distributing it to other distributors.
Right. So you were basically warehousing.
Exactly.
And you were logistics.
Yeah, basically.
Wow. And then
with the Colombians, that's what you do.
Right.
They'll park so much work in certain spots and they can hand it out to people and that's what he was preparing me for.
Wow. So you were working for them. It's not like you were just distributing your own coke.
I was working.
You were working for them.
Yeah.
Wow. So they tried to take you out. They did take you out. So did you go down for 100 kilos? Was that the amount that you got popped on?
I was charged with, what is that, receiving 5 or more or something like that. And the devil is in the details with that, because this whole thing, it turned real political. And it's some stuff that I don't feel comfortable with saying, but I put it like this. When I was sentenced, they had, was it 800 keys or something like that on there? That was the charge. But of course, they didn't charge you with that, with relative conduct. The judge said, once he stated the number, and he said, and I'm sure this is a very, very generous number, saying that he knew that I did way more than what they had on that damn document.
How did they manage to put together 800 keys? So was this multiple shipments that Chapo or one of the Sinaloans had set you up on?
What they did, because they caught a number of the drivers that said that they were on their way to me.
Okay.
Yeah. They called someone, said they were on their way to me in Detroit and on their way to me in Atlanta.
Wow.
And they charged me with that.
Over how much, what period of time was this investigation?
This was like,
like how long?
They had already been for like 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
But the drivers that were, the drivers that basically said they were on their way to me, it had only been maybe like a couple of years.
Okay. And why do you think they didn't take you down right there?
This is what I said to the lead U.S. attorney, because he came down to meet me once they extradited me to El Paso. He came down to meet me. And I said this to him. I said, you know, you were lucky that you caught me when you did, because you wouldn't have never found me. What he told me was this. He said, you're right, Mr. Tomkins. He said, but what you should be asking yourself is, why did they tell us to come get you now? I'm saying, wait, you the U.S. Attorney? Who is they?
Right.
That's when I started to get it. But it goes a lot deeper, man.
Who is they? Tease us, because we're going to talk about it on the Patreon. Who is they? Sinaloa?
It was somebody more powerful than the U.S. Attorney.
Wow. But in our government?
I don't know. But they were powerful, whoever they were. And he made sure he put a distinction on they.
So you went down before, obviously before Chapo. You got arrested in 2010. Chapo didn't go down until... Well,
I got arrested like 2011. I think it was April the 3rd or 4th on 2011.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You got arrested in 2011. And then did you just stay in? Or did you bail out?
They never let me out.
Yeah.
Actually, Michigan was going to let me out. This story is crazy. Michigan was going to let me out. And they talked to my attorney because they had people from El Paso there in the court, and said that if I tried to bail out, that they were there to appeal it to stop me from getting out. And told me through my attorney that if I was willing to waive the extradition process, that I could come down to Texas, be arraigned, and they would give me bond. So I'm like, let's do it, right? So I went ahead, did it, got down to, usually takes a while to get extradited and transported. I was down there in less than a week, maybe like 3 or 4 days to get me down there that damn quick. I get down there, go to court, whatever, and my attorney hadn't made it down there. I had a team of attorneys. I had 2 attorneys from down there and my attorney up here, which has since passed, may rest in peace. And my attorney from down there met with me after we went to court. I say, so what did they say about the bond? He said, Mrs. Tomkins, are you a real, like, religious person? I'm like, no, not really. He said, well, I'm going to tell you exactly what they said, but there's no attack on no one's religion. I'm like, okay. They told me it would be easier for you to shake hands with God than get a bond.
Yeah.
I started laughing my ass off. He looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, that was a good one. But yeah, they never let me back out. And once started getting into the weeds, I could see why.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about more. We're going to switch over now because we're out of time. But you did 10 flat or 8.5?
It was a little under 10.
And you came home. You've been home about what?
About 5.5, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's plug your book, man. We got several books, but El Primo, which is what they called you, which is what the boys down in Mexico called you, the cousin, right?
Yeah, that's what Chapo gave me the name, Primo.
Chapo gave you this name.
Yeah.
Wow. El Primo.
Yeah.
The Black Hand of the Sinaloa Cartel by Donald Wayne Tomkins. Where can they get this?
You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. It'll come right up. I have it's a long book.
Yeah.
There's a lot I cut out of it, but I got 600 something pages, but I also have it broke down into volumes. This is volume 1.
Okay.
And this one is volume 2. And this is the juicy one. It's thicker.
Right.
Volume 3.
And that's basically your entire life story with all of these details.
And much
more. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So they can get that on Amazon. And I encourage you, like, I'm going to read this book. I mean, a lot of people come on here with books that I don't read. I'm going to read this book. Now tell us about your YouTube channel as well. We want to plug that up.
My YouTube channel is at official El Primo. And
The link will be in the description.
Yeah,
So, but you're just doing content, or is it a podcast, or are you just telling stories about yourself?
I'm telling some stories about myself. I don't go real heavy into it, but there are some stories on there about myself. I do a lot of current events and things of that sort, but I'm gonna put more stories about myself and a lot that's going on with me, and that has went on more deep and in detail stuff. So
okay, terrific. Well, yeah, that was unbelievable, really remarkable. Do you reflect back? Did you have time to sit back and think about how far that you ascended in the drug world from just being an orphan collecting bottles in Detroit?
does
that hit you at how rare and exceptional that is?
It's scary to think about, because at the age that I am now, thinking back, I'm like, how did I do that?
Yeah.
How did I have the balls to do it? How did I? So it's like, wow. So, I mean, it's scary. And to even tell the story, man, it comes from a dark place. It comes from a real, real dark place, man. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's one thing is I would never want to do it again. I don't think I'd ever be able to. I mean, the chest pains I used to have. I mean, you owing somebody $4 and $5 million. How do you call them and tell them you had a bad day?
Right.
I mean,
right.
Who wants to hear that, right? So, I mean, wow.
The stress.
Yeah. It's unimaginable.
Yeah.
It's unimaginable.
Wow. Well, we're glad you're back. Glad you're free. We're glad you're out of the game. We're going to switch over to Patreon and fill in a lot of those details, especially about the war years. But that was really something else. I appreciate you coming all the way out here to LA.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you got to go check out his book, El Primo, available on Amazon and anywhere else you get books. Donald Tompkins. Really appreciate it, man. We'll see you over on Patreon, patreon.com/The Connect Show.